Good evening and welcome. I will call to order the Lake Havasu City Council meeting on Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. We'll have an invocation by Pastor Kay Zimmerman from City on a Hill International Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Corey Castell with the Havasu Vipers baseball.
Let's stand and let's pray. Father God, we just thank you so much for this city. I thank you, Father, for our mayor, each council member, our police chief, fire chief, all who serve our city. We just thank you for your protection over it, Lord, especially over our young people, Lord. Protection over our young people. And we thank you that there's a mighty move among the young people, God. Just keep that fire burning. Keep your hand on them, God. And I just ask you, Lord, to come into this meeting. Be Lord over this meeting. And I'm going to read the decree that God gave us for our city. I decree over the city of Lake Havasu City that this city shall be a city of righteousness that honors God in all her ways, a city of hope to all her people and all those who come here, a city of light where darkness finds no room to hide, a city of love that prospers in all her ways, providing prosperity and goodwill to all her people, as well as those surrounding her, and a city of peace to all who dwell here. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, amen. Amen.
I did want to offer this up as a bit of gratitude from our organization as well as an honorary member of our team. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, in liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and welcome. Would you like to share a little bit about your organization?
Yes. My name is Corey Castell, as he had mentioned. This is my first year with Havasu Vipers travel baseball organization. I believe in gratitude, so I would like to thank the men that came before me, our current board. If I'm missing any one of you, please forgive me, but our president currently, David Mraz, he is part of our firefighters in the community. Justin Janisek, Mike Thornhill, Justin Wilson, Scotty Taylor, which is the vice president, and Rick Zagris, I believe you pronounce it. And if I missed any of you guys, thank you as well. I'm here directly for my son and his buddies, their team. We're the Havasu Vipers 9U team. This is our first year. Young boys who have never played travel ball. But we're looking to show them and set a quality standard, not only in the game, but as well as life. There's winning and losing in life, and we don't want that to go to the wayside. As these young boys grow older, they may fall and they may lose, but if you learn from it, it's not really losing. That's kind of our motto. I'd like to thank my coaching staff, my assistant coach, Danny Bull, and two other assistants, Chance Crane and Victor Landero. The purpose, I was invited here tonight. I was in the city office speaking for an event for the company I work for, ServPro. And the front desk, they were talking about the Afghanistan event with the bricks. And I had mentioned our young boys and wanting to, ingrain in them gratitude. If we don't have gratitude, all we do, all the hard work and sweat and tears we put into this is all for nothing. I learned that growing up in this community myself and having opportunities that I lost because I didn't have gratitude. So my goal here was to invite anyone in the community that needs a helping hand. Boys putting up tables and chairs, serving people, whatever it may be, that we can help your events and just anything you might need where you need extra hands, and young boys could do it, albeit our schedules, they're going to school and whatnot, but that they could learn that bit of gratitude and give back to the community. We have a laundry list of donors that have given so much. Councilmember Dolan, we appreciate your wonderful donation you gave us and your team over there at Campbell Cove. Gave sandwiches for an event we held. And so it's all about money, travel ball. You spend money for these tournaments and this equipment. It's really expensive, and you get lost in the weeds of, why you really do this stuff. So that was one of the major goals, was to, like I said, let the community know that we're here. We'd love to help. And if you need anything, give us a call, and we'll be right there for your event to support and uplift your cause. Selfishly, I'd be remiss if I didn't also mention we always are looking for donors, baseball loving, youth of the community supporting, philanthropists. If you have a need and you're called to give, even if it's not just to our team or our organization, any organization, I do have a donor sheet I'd like to leave with the city clerk if anyone is called to donate to us, that they have the ability to. But like I said, first and foremost, just teaching these boys gratitude. They may grow in this game. It may teach them and take them to other places where they can have a successful career and come back to our community and give back. And I appreciate the council, as well as you folks listening to me and hearing me out and giving me the time.
Thank you, Mr. Costello, and thank you for creating these opportunities for the youth in our community.
Thank you very much.
Next item on our agenda is the roll call. Ms. Williams, if you please call the roll.
Council members Nancy Campbell.
Here.
Jenny Koch.
Here.
Jim Dolan.
Here.
David Diaz.
Here.
Cameron Moses.
Here.
Vice Mayor Michelle Lynn.
Here.
Mayor Cal Sheehy.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 5 is our consent agenda. Would any of the council members like to remove any of the items for separate discussion?
Mayor, motion.
Yeah, Councilmember Moses.
Yeah, I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Moses. We have a second from Councilmember Dolan. We are ready to vote. Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Koch.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Item 6 is our correspondence, communications, petitions, announcements, and the city manager report. We'll start with item 6.1, which is to announce the vacancies on Lake Havasu City boards, committees, and commissions. Ms. Williams?
Mayor and City Council, this item is to announce vacancies on Lake Havasu City boards, committees, and commissions. The city currently has one alternate member vacancy on the Board of Adjustment. Anyone interested can pick up a packet at City Hall, and they are also available on the city's website at www.lhcaz.gov. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 6.2 is our city manager's report. Good evening, Mr. Knudsen.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, members of the council. I'd like to start this evening's city manager report with a very heavy heart. I'm sharing the passing and the news of Katrina Gable's passing that happened over the weekend on Saturday. So she was one of our city employees. So there's a lot of sadness amongst our city employees and throughout the community. Katrina has served our community in the Development Services Department as a code enforcement officer. She was dedicated to her work beyond words, valued by her colleagues, and will be deeply missed. Katrina is the wife of our fleet maintenance supervisor, Don Gable. So please keep Don and his family and the Gable family in your thoughts and prayers as they navigate through this very, very difficult time. But once again, we extend our deepest sympathy and support to Katrina's family. We're going to miss you. The Lake Havasu City Elks Lodge 2399 hosted their annual Law and Order Night to honor local law enforcement and emergency rescue personnel. Thank you to Councilmember David Diaz for attending and honoring our public safety team. Engineer paramedic Joe Tobin was recognized for his exceptional commitment to others and his dedication to developing future firefighters and paramedics in Lake Havasu City. Selected by Chief Palafis for this recognition, Joe has gone above and beyond by devoting his personal time to support students in the School of EMS program. He leads weekly review sessions, breaks down complex concepts, offers test preparation, and provides one-on-one guidance to ensure student success. Congratulations to you, Joe, on this well-deserved honor. We're very, very proud to have you on our Lake Havasu City team. Parks Director Gabby Vera, Parks Maintenance Superintendent Guy Reynolds, and our Recreation Superintendent Marcus McIntyre attended the National Recreation and Park Association Conference and presented to a room of over 500 people on the topic of transforming organizational culture. You can see it pictured on the bottom right-hand corner. Gabby received the National Young Professional Award, and Marcus was honored with a National Parks and Recreation National Award as well. Congratulations to you, Marcus, for your leadership and dedication for advancing recreation opportunities. We're very, very proud of you, Gabby, and for you, Marcus, for all you've done for Lake Havasu City and on this national recognition. Development Services Director Jeff Tuneman, building official Stephen Blake, and management analyst Jeanette Nutt recently presented at the Chamber Building Industry Alliance Lunch and Learn, where they walk contractors through and attendees through the process of submitting building permits and using our Mainstar system to build applications and submit applications to the city through our system. They also updated the group on the general plan and proposed changes to the building and fire codes. Thank you to you, Jeff, Jeanette, and Stephen for being part of this opportunity to support businesses in Lake Havasu, and to the Chamber Building Industry Alliance for providing valuable education and resources in our community. On Thursday, September 11th, Lake Havasu City came together for the 9/11 memorial ceremony to honor the lives lost, recognize the heroes, and reflect on the strength and resilience that has united our nation since the tragic events of 2001. The 9/11 committee organized a touching ceremony, highlighted by meaningful speeches by Mayor Sheehy and Judge Clowley, reminding us that we must never forget and we must find the motivation to bridge the divides in our lives. Thank you to all that were involved in coordinating this meaningful event and for all those that attended. The fall event season is kicking off, and the mayor's office is actively recognizing the many charitable organizations and their outstanding contributions in our community. Mayor, Councilmember David Diaz, and staff, and I, as well as myself, we attended the re-grand opening of the local Walmart on Friday, September 12th. The event celebrated the store's new and improved location, and the renovations within the existing facility, and provided for an opportunity for local representatives to connect with the community. Walmart takes pride in being community-focused and committed to supporting our first responders. So we thank them for all the donations. Shop with a Cop, for example, is one thing we're very grateful for. The store management honored Mayor Sheehy with an honorary associate work vest and name tag. Mayor Sheehy proclaimed October 2025 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in Lake Havasu City, as we encourage all residents to support cancer survivors and take part in activities that raise awareness, promote prevention, and improve detection and treatment to all forms of cancer. The mayor will also present the proclamation at the Breast Cancer Awareness Walk that'll take place on October 4th at 7:30 a.m., and everybody will be there at the stage beneath the London Bridge. Again, October 4th, 7:30 a.m. And on bottom right picture is Mayor Sheehy visited New Horizons Center and presented a proclamation in recognition of National Direct Support Professional Week for the week of September 7th through September 13th. The direct support professionals provide vital care and support to individuals with developmental disabilities, helping them live meaningful and independent lives. The city joins in honoring their invaluable contributions to our community. On Saturday, September 13th, in recognition of National Suicide Prevention Month, Vice Mayor Michelle Lynn presented a proclamation on behalf of the Office of the Mayor during the You Matter Walk, highlighting the importance of National Suicide Prevention Month and promoting the resources available to support suicide prevention within our community. And Vice Mayor Lynn, you also visited Michael Allen Furniture and Design to present the proclamation for 24-hour Sleepless in Havasu Day. Each and every year, Michael Allen hosts the unique overnight charity event raising funds for breast cancer prevention through early detection with the Mom Mobile On-Site Mammography Unit. To date, the event has raised $585,924, with all proceeds staying local here in Lake Havasu City. I'd like to thank River Scene Magazine for the use of their photograph, which is wonderful. Reminder to save the date as we've scheduled the next public open house for the 2026 general plan update. There's be 2 sessions will be available, taking place on Wednesday, October 29th from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. and on Thursday the 30th from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. It'll be in the community rooms A and B at the Mojave County Library here in Lake Havasu City. This open house is an opportunity for the public to provide input on the 2026 general plan update. And this is the format of this event is to come and go. So you don't have to be there right at the start of the event. If you can make that window, we encourage you to come and learn about the progress so far and share all your ideas and feedback with us. Also a reminder, the next coffee with the mayor and city manager will be held on October 3rd at 8:30 a.m. Be here in the council chambers. Please join the mayor and myself and come with questions, share your ideas, and hear the latest updates from City Hall. And I have another video. I'm told this is five more to go. This is how many parks and different sites and assets that we have within our community. In this edition of Get to Know Your Park series, we have Councilmember Cameron Moses, who's going to highlight Site 6. There is a trivia question within the video, so if you know the answer, I'll check with you afterwards. Let's listen.
Hi, I'm Councilmember Cameron Moses, and I'm here at Site 6, located at 591 Beachcomber Boulevard. Site 6 is Lake Havasu City's most historic and beloved recreation spot. Did you know Site 6 was originally a World War II military airfield and seaplane base? It played a vital role in the training missions during the war. How cool is that? Today, it's a favorite spot for fishing, boating, and enjoying the lake's beauty. With our newly improved launch ramp, we've made it even easier for you to get out on the water. And we're not stopping there. Exciting updates are planned for the fishing dock to make it even better for anglers and visitors alike. Now here's a fun trivia question. What year was Site 6 first established as a military base? Drop your answers in the comments below. Site 6 is just one of many incredible recreational spots we're proud to highlight. We hope to see you here soon.
Good. Thank you, Cameron Moses. And Site 6 was established by the U.S. military in 1942. Yeah. Mayor and Council, that concludes my report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knudsen. Yeah, Vice Mayor Lynn has a question.
I just have a quick question on that CBIA training that Mr. Toonman presented. How many contractors showed up at that?
We had 5 that showed up at that event. So the invitations went out to the contractors in the community through the chamber, through invitations, and so we had 5 that attended, and we'll do it again, and hopefully for a more robust outcome.
Did we have that on our city website that we were presenting that to?
All of that was going with different emails and the website through the Chamber of Commerce. So we have some other things planned that we're going to do on the city's behalf, and that was something that the chamber did and we want to participate with. But we're not done in terms of the city's participation.
Thank you.
Councilmember Diaz.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something. I think we need to include and thank Jess. Great presentation. But on Saturday the 13th, we had a great memorial service for a candlelight service vigil for Charlie Kirk. And I want to thank the community for coming out to that. We had over 3,000 people there, and I want to give a big shout out to, thank you. I want to give a shout out to Evelyn Tinsley, the school board member that put that together, and thank you, Jess and Jerry Brockamantis for getting all the paperwork in and expedient, and appreciate everyone in the community for coming out for that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Knudsen. We'll move on to item 7, which is our public hearings. During each of our public hearings, members of the public will have an opportunity to engage when we open the public hearing. If you so choose to engage on that topic, we encourage you to come to the podium, state your name for the record, and address the council directly. We can have a two-way conversation at this point of the meeting. At the end of the meeting, there will be a call to the public where citizens will have the opportunity to address the city council on items within the jurisdiction of Lake Havasu City at that time, but we can have a two-way conversation. So again, if you hear from one of the items and you want to engage on that topic, please do so during that public hearing. 7.1, which is resolution number 25-3872, designating Alley 20 as Scott Brennan Way in honor of Scott Brennan. Mr. Foggen.
Mayor, Council, happy to be here tonight with you. We've received an application to rename Alley 20, as the title says, to Scott Brennan Way. Next slide. Oh, do I have the clicker? Thank you. Alley 20, for those of you that don't know, Alley 20 is a road, kind of a frontage road that runs north of South Palo Verde, up and around basically all of this area has alleys surrounding it. This particular road has remained Alley 20 for a long, long time. So it's actually really an opportunity in which to give it actually a better name. But as part of the process, the city has a policy for naming and renaming roads and streets. And as part of that, I want to thank the renaming committee for helping work through the policy. These folks were helpful in asking questions and walking through the process. And in following the policy, the requirements, we believe, as a committee were met. The applicant provided a strong case for changing Alley 20 to Scott Brennan Way. The required public support letters for renaming the street were provided. And the street name change actually was really made it easy because we didn't have any negative effect to any of the businesses along that way, along the alleyway there. Matter of fact, all the businesses have El Camino, if you're familiar with the area, the street on the other side, west of Alley 20. And so we feel, the committee felt like it met the policy requirements to move it forward to City Council. And so we have it here for you tonight. The applicant, Jamie Brennan, is here and is prepared to address the council at this time. So I will let her have the microphone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fogg. Good evening, Ms. Brennan. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I also have Scott's daughter.
I'm Savannah.
Welcome.
Oh. Members of the City Council, friends, and fellow residents, thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I come to you not only as a member of the community, but also as someone carrying the love and memory of a remarkable man, a beloved father, husband, treasured friend, and devoted citizen of our city. I would like to propose renaming the frontage road in front of Scotty's Roasted Chicken to Scott Brennan Way. This request is rooted in love, loss, and hope. My husband was more than just a resident. He was a successful business owner of Scotty's Roasted Chicken alongside his father, Tom, who operated Scotty's for nearly 33 years before his passing. Scott was a guiding light and a true inspiration to all, a kind, genuine soul. Scott was not motivated by recognition. He preferred to stay out of the spotlight and let others take the credit. As a matter of fact, many people don't know that Scott played college football for USC. He went to the Rose Bowl 4 times and earned 3 Rose Bowl rings. I believe this is what led him to coach football for the youth of our community. He began with Pop Warner, coaching the Chiefs, then moved up to Thunderbolt and ended coaching with the freshman football team at Lake Havasu High School, until he got sick and that ended. He was a positive role model for our youth. Scott was a true friend and lit up a room when he walked in with his sense of humor and love for life. He had a way of making everyone feel special. Scott was a very hard worker and gave 100% everything he did. He was very dedicated to his business and customers that frequented Scotty's. He would often introduce me to customers as we walked away. He would tell me their entire order, all the way down to how many sides of ranch, barbecue sauce, and what his wife would drink. Scott was my voice of reason and my voice of calm in uncertain times, my everything. I honestly don't know how I have come this far without him. He was a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. Losing him has left a void in my life and in the lives of many others. I'm confident that many in this room could share their own stories of my husband's kindness, friendship, and laughs. I'm sure some are thinking right now something that he said or did that made you laugh. I encourage you to hold on to those memories. Thank you for your time and consideration with this request. May we continue to build our city where people like Scott are remembered and honored. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
I'll make this quick. On June 13th, 1991, my grandpa Tom and my dad Scott opened the doors to Scotty's Roasted Chicken. For over 34 years, it became more than a restaurant. It was part of this community's story. Scotty's wasn't just where people came to eat. It was where families celebrated birthdays, where teams came after big wins and sometimes tough losses, and where neighbors became friends over plates of crispy roasted chicken. And if you left hungry, that was your own fault. And if you left smelling like chicken, well, that means you were part of the family. For me, it was home. It was my first job, my second living room, and honestly, sometimes my free daycare. And it was where my parents first met, and without Scotty's, I wouldn't be here today. When my dad passed away, I knew the restaurant would never be the same, and its closing is bittersweet. But what he and my grandfather built doesn't just end with the doors shutting. The laughter, the friendship, and the countless memories, those live in every single person who ever came to Scotty's. My dad gave so much back to this community. He coached football at Lake Havasu High School, and he even tortured his daughters by coaching some of their soccer and basketball teams. He supported local events and always looked for ways to give back. Scotty's became a true pillar of this community, and not just a place to eat, but a place where people felt connected. That's why I believe that naming the street in front of Scotty's once stood after my dad would be more than just a sign. It would be a reminder of a man who gave his heart to this community, one plate of chicken at a time. It would honor not only his life and his legacy, and also the spirit of connection he created, a spirit that lives on today. So when people drive down the street and see his name, I hope they smile and maybe get a little hungry. And remember that Scotty meant good food, good company, and a whole lot of love.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Great job, ladies. Thank you so much for sharing part of your story with us. All right, this is, excuse me, does any members of the council have any questions for Mr. Foggin or for the Brennans? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this item? If so, just make your way to the podium and state your name for the record. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, bring it back to council for discussion or possible motion.
Motion.
Yeah, Councilmember Diaz.
I move to adopt resolution number 25-3872 designating Alley 20 north of South Palo Verde Boulevard to El Camino Drive as Scott Brennan Way in honor of Scott Brennan, and authorize city staff to take the appropriate action to accomplish this action.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Diaz and a second from Councilmember Dolan. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Koch?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. We're going to miss Scott and we're going to miss Scotty's. So this will be a great memory for everyone. Thank you so much. All right, item 7.2 is ordinance number 25-1369, approving a planned development rezone and general development plan for 2015 Moyo Drive, Track 100, Block 1, Lots 1 and 2, 0.82 acres from Residential Commercial Health District to Residential Commercial Health District Plan Development to decrease the minimum density from 15 dwelling units per acre to 10 dwelling units per acre. Mr. Gilbert.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. The applicant for this item is in attendance here tonight. The subject property is 0.82 acres, consisting of multiple parcels previously platted as a tiny home development addressed at 2015 Moyo Drive and are all owned by the applicant. The entire less than 1 acre parcel is zoned Residential Commercial Health District, RCHD, and is surrounded by the same zoning. Within a few hundred feet are commercial health districts, single-family residential, and low-density multifamily residential zones. The general plan designation for this property is high-density residential, which has a density range of 10 to 20 units per acre, and the proposed project complies, having a density of almost 11 units per acre. The general development plan shows 9 barn cave style 2-story homes, each with bottom floor garages and second floor living. There will be a condo association that will maintain the common drive, pool, perimeter fencing, and landscaping interior walkways. The plan meets all R-CHD, that's a residential commercial health district, special design standards, and only needs exception to lower the minimum density from 15 to 10 units per acre. The City Council changed the density standards for the RCHD zone in 2022 to remove the no minimum density requirement and replace it with the minimum 15 units per acre. This slide shows the buildings as they would appear to a pedestrian at the corner of Moyo and Injo Drives. The second slide shows some facade details and the 2-story pitched roof style dwelling units that meet the minimum 2-story requirement, and at 31 feet above max grade to the roof peak will also fall well under the 42 feet base maximum height for the district. Code compliance conditions for this project, the following are: the development shall substantially match the general development plan provided with the request, address comments from other agencies and reviewers during design review phase, and finally, building permits and design review for compliance with city codes, including any Lake Havasu City Public Works Department required off-site improvements, will be required with development of the property. Mr. Mayor, this completes my presentation. Be able to answer any questions you or the council may have.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Are there any questions from members of council for Mr. Gilbert or the applicant?
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, Vice Mayor Lynn.
Could you go back about 3 slides where it shows the design? Keep going. Keep going. Right here. I just have a question. So the underneath is the garages for boats or RVs, correct?
That is correct.
How are they getting those vehicles into those spaces?
The width of the drive aisle meets city code, development code standards. The garages are designed to hold 2 vehicles per garage with the option to have an RV parked in there. So the entire bottom floor is for that. The top floor is the entire living facility. So depending what mix of vehicles they have will determine what to use the garage for, which may not be for an RV, but if they do, there's still enough width there to get the vehicles in.
Okay. I like this design better than the tiny homes. I'm just, the sell of it that you can put an RV in there, I'm not seeing how that's possible. I mean, I don't know. I don't own an RV or one of those big boats, but I don't know how that's possible to put those in that space and drive your car in and put that in there. But thank you.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Gilbert or the applicant on this project? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the City Council on this item? Yeah, please just make your way to the podium and state your name for the record.
Good evening. My name is Emiliano Torres. I'm a resident. Again, I'm seeing a lot of these types of homes being built. The residence is on the 2nd floor, and the only access to it is from a stairwell. Am I under the impression now that that meets code, that you have a residence on the 2nd floor, that if there's a problem in the back of the garage or near the stairwell, those folks won't be able to get out? I'm assuming it does meet code. I'm just wondering. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Torres. Mr. Gilbert, do you want to address that?
Well, I will turn it over to Jeff Thunman, the director of the department, to answer that question.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. To answer that question, the building code does not allow a living residence to exit directly through a garage, so that would have to mean they'd come down the stair and go out an exterior door. If you see at the rear of the garage, there's a door that goes out to a covered entry. that would be the front door that would be secluded from the garage. So there would be like a 20-minute or 1 3/8 solid core door that would go from the stairwell into the garage to allow that access. And then you would have an exterior door in that stairwell that would go directly to the exterior of the building.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right, would anyone else like to address the council on this item?
Hi, I'm Pam Swenson. Did you have an engineer check the swing that would be necessary for an RV to park in one of those? I mean, the driveway may meet code, but did you have an engineer look at the design for a swing for a 30-foot RV to back into some of those things?
Ms. Swenson, we'll have Mr. Tuneman will answer that question for you.
Thank you for the question. The development code, these garages are being used for covered parking for vehicles. That's what the code requires. The code isn't looking at boat storage, RV storage. So we would defer that question to the applicant or to the developer that is designing this project. We would have to leave that to him. We're looking at it purely from a car standpoint.
Thank you for that. Yeah, and how it meets code, because our code requires covered parking.
Correct. Our code requires the covered parking, so for a vehicle, and therefore that's where you get that two-way, 24-foot wide minimum access.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, would anyone else like to address council on this item? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Bring it back to council for any questions, comments, or a possible motion. Again, this item is minimizing the density from what is currently there from 15 to 10, and is coming to us with a recommendation of approval from Planning and Zoning Commission of 7 to 0.
Mayor?
Yeah, Councilmember Dolan?
Motion?
Please.
Move to adopt ordinance number 25-1369, approving a plan development rezone and general development plan for 2015 Moyo Drive, Track 100, Block 1, Lots 1 and 2, from Residential Commercial Health District to Residential Commercial Health District Plan Development to decrease the minimum density from 15 dwelling units per acre to 10 dwelling units per acre.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Dolan, a second from Councilmember Moses. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Koch?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries 7 to 0.
Thank you. Item 7.3 is a presentation of the 30% second bridge and roadway improvement project. Good evening, Mr. Hart.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. I'm honored to come before you this evening and present to you a 30% design status update on the second bridge and roadway improvement project. As you can imagine, this is a particular project that has been in the works for a long time. And I wanted to just do a brief update on where we've been from the 2024 till now. So the feasibility study was completed in June of 2024. A design firm was hired in October of 2024. The 20% design, bridge design, we achieved that in December of 2024. The CMAR was hired in February 2025. So our design firm was NV5 in October, and then our CMAR was Ames Construction in 2025. Then the environmental assessment process started with the United States Coast Guard July 31st, 2025. And this was key for us because this is the main permit that we need for the project as a whole. And we are told it can take up to 1 year to complete. So it was a goal to get all that we needed in at that time so that we could achieve the year quicker than later. And then the 30% bridge design submittal was submitted to the city on September 9th, 2025. So that was only 2 weeks ago. And we are very pleased with the 30% plans and they are under review, going to turn them around quick. There's been a lot that goes into this project, and we wanted to just kind of highlight that. The agencies that the city has been working with for this project is the Arizona Department of Transportation. They have been great to work with on this project. Arizona State Lands, which is on the island side. Arizona State Parks, which is on the mainland side, we're calling it. The Bureau of Land Management has been another agency. And then, of course, the United States Coast Guard. And all of these agencies have been wonderful to work with. And we're looking forward to continue with this project with them. I just wanted to touch on what the project construction limits all involve, because it's quite extensive for the most part. As you can see here, an aerial looking down, you'll see the channel there kind of in the middle. To the left is the island itself, and we'll be going through that open field area and connecting to the McCulloch Road on the south end. This is a little deceiving because you're thinking east to west, but the south is actually to the left. And then when you cross the channel, you'll be in the state parks area, and we'll go past our lift station that is there and connect to London Bridge Road and the city's parking lot. There has been extensive traffic studies done on this, and so we'll need to do a little bit of work with Paso del Sol. There's an alley there. And then as we get down to South Palo Verde Boulevard, where we connect with the state highway, there'll be some work there. So the items that have been finalized up to this point have been the roadway alignment, which took a lot of processing and thinking and going through. The bridge location and length itself, as we reported before, we ended up relocating the bridge slightly, rotating it to shorten it, and to get the best location for it. The intersection layouts on both the south and the north end. The right-of-way limits, we've been working really hard to define the alignment and things like that to be able to determine what the right-of-way limits on the south side of the channel are, and we have submitted that to the state lands, and then the right-of-way limits on the north side of the channel. We've worked hard on that and have submitted to BLM, and we'll be working with Arizona State Parks, which has been great to work with. Just kind of zooming in on the project a little bit, as you look at the project as a whole, you can see here as we focus mainly between the intersections, two on the right side of the screen, which is the north. That is the intersection there that comes off of London Bridge Road. There will be a access road into state parks that they have requested that is opened and closed depending upon events. And then you'll continue on through the new area, go by the lift station. You'll be crossing over the second bridge and then making your way over to the other intersection with McCulloch. And eventually we'll connect to Beachcomber. So it's all kind of new ground that we're breaking here, and we're excited about this. As we go forward, just a quick update on that. We plan to have 60% bridge design by February of 2026. We're looking for the EA permit issued by the U.S. States Coast Guard. We're hoping in April of 2026. We'll hope to have the 100% bridge design by July of 2026. And then we're hoping to have bridge construction that first quarter of 2027. So we've got a little bit of an aggressive timeline here, but we're thinking we can do it. So we're excited about this, and construction is expected to last 18 to 24 months. So I think we're going to have a really nice project when this is all said and done. If you have any questions, I'll be more than willing to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Questions from members of the council? Yeah, Councilmember Diaz?
Can you go back a few slide where it said, keep going. Keep going. Right there. Second bullet point, bridge location and lane. So we talked about, Mr. Kanushi, maybe you might answer this, but we talked about you were going to try to get that location moved. So you say that did happen? And that was going to be a savings of X amount of dollars if we did that?
Yes, yeah. As you recall, the original bridge and roadway alignment, the bridge went pretty much north and south right there along the eastern side of the right-of-way, just to the west of the lift station. And we did an evaluation on that, and we're able to rotate that south end and essentially shorten the bridge up to where we could save approximately $3 million in that. So it was a nice little value engineering, if you will.
That was a realization of a $3 million savings.
Mayor, Councilmember Diaz, that is the hope. So a lot of hard work has gone into the conversations led by our project manager, Jason Hart, and the contractor and design team. We've had some very, very good conversations, and all signs point towards state land departments finalizing the change in the legal description of the land. It's a perpetual lease agreement that we have, the city has with state land department. So we're not across the finish line just yet, but everything looks very, very good. But we need a signature from state land to finalize that, to realize the change in the alignment and realize the $3 million savings.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. And now go forward in your PowerPoint. Sorry about that. Stop right there. So on the left-hand side at the top, it says add new roundabout intersection. And then on the other side, it says add new. So I guess I'm going to ask the question, when did roundabouts become a part of this deal? Because we had one presentation from the roundabout girl that came showed us 46 slides on roundabouts. But when did that become like Eston concrete that we're going to do doing roundabouts?
I can grab that if that's okay. Mayor Councilmember Diaz, none of that has been decided. So honestly, when the design team and the construction team is having conversations about the intersections and what makes some sense, when we saw the conceptual drawings that you see here as part of the weekly meetings, that's when I said hit pause on that team, and that's when we first brought those conversations to the council 2 months ago, somewhere in that time frame. So keep that in mind. So nothing has been settled at all in terms of what that looked like. The conversation that we brought to city council about roundabouts or T intersections or whatever the intersection improvements may or may not look like. We wanted to bring that to council early on and to the community early on to receive feedback and on if that makes sense in what regard. If we get to that 60% design, and then we're going to get some real cost estimates coming from contractors and bidders on this project. We have a set defined budget. Remember that we received a legislative appropriation from the state. Thank you to Representative Leo Biasucci in leading that effort for $35.5 million. So that's our budget for the project. We have a lot of thoughts in terms of how the bridge, the road network, the relocation of utilities, the intersection improvements, how all that's going to look. But the intersections might be something that we're looking at from more of a bare bones phase one type of perspective. Because we want to concentrate the dollars on the bridge deck, the road networks, and so forth. That's a very long-winded response to your question, David Diaz. The short answer is that what you see here is a conversation starter. Nothing has been decided, and we'll see what that looks like moving forward, based on direction from council, and of course, based on direction from the community.
No, and I appreciate that answer, because I don't want a lot of work be done with engineering and drawings and architectural for roundabouts, and then we're not going to even do roundabouts if we decide to do that, and then they spent the money. So, okay, I appreciate that answer. Thank you.
Is anyone else? Councilmember Moses?
Yeah, as far as the bridge and the road network, are they going to be built at the same time? You're going to start on the road network ahead of time? What is the timeline of how all that plays out?
Yeah, the goal is they'll be built in conjunction. So you'll have a crew that'll be working on the bridge themselves, which anytime you get into a bridge construction, you spend a lot of time on the abutments and the piers, and it would seem like nothing's happening, and there's a lot of work going on underneath in terms of the shafts that'll be the pile shafts and all that. So, and then the construction of the road will be going on concurrent.
All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the council on this item? Yeah, please just make your way to the podium and state your name for the record.
My name is Audie Collins. Just got one thing to say about roundabouts. Roundabouts and old people like me don't go well together. We have a lot of older people in this town, and I just came back from Colorado. Roundabouts everywhere, collisions everywhere. So I hate roundabouts.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing, Mr. Collins. Would anyone else like to address the council on this item?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The structure on the bridge, is that going to go down to ground level, to hard rock, or is it just going to be attached to the sand? And the roundabout, I'm sorry to say, is I went and looked at it, the area in Site 6 or Motel 6 and that whole area. You have 5 roads actually that come together. And from what I heard the gentleman say, it doesn't look like that's all included. I would think they should make a paper mache plan that you can move things, you can move roads and work it so you can show us really what's going to happen. I had a hard time understanding the concept of it. And saving the $3 million is a great idea. But there's a lot more to it than the $3 million. So anyhow, good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Wisdom. Yeah, Mr. Hurd, did you want to answer the question about the foundation of the bridge?
Yes, that's a good question. You always, the ideal situation is to be able to build bridge abutments on solid rock, but in this case, that's not able to be achieved. So we'll be doing pile drives and we'll on a spread footing. So they're an industry standard. They work very well and they are cost effective. So thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the council on this item?
Good evening. I'm Kelly Lutz. I just wanted to echo Councilmember Diaz's question that the 30% is finalized. So I'm kind of curious of who actually finalizes it. Is it the city council that finalizes that, or is there a committee that's finalizing it? And when you say it's finalized, what you've checked off there is the intersection. So is there more design? Is there more going to go into the intersections, or once you've checked it off as 30% finalized, is that part done?
So I'll answer that. So the council will be the ones that will make the final decision. So as Mr. Knutson had mentioned, it's not until we get to the 60% that we're going to actually have finalized numbers. So we'll know what the options even are when it comes to the road network, with the main focus being obviously the bridge deck, and the utility.
But as it's checked off, it looks like you're done with that and you're going on to the next phase.
No, and that was a great clarification that Councilmember Diaz had made. And as Mr. Knutson mentioned, the council will make the final decision, but we won't know until 60% to make those final decisions.
Yeah. And one last thing about the roundabout. We've all been on used roundabouts. We don't see pedestrian crosswalks going across it because there's no street lights. There's no way for traffic to stop to let pedestrians across. And we all know that that's a state park entrance, and special events occur there all the time. Everyone parks across the street. So, I mean, the whole idea of even considering a roundabout where traffic doesn't stop to let pedestrians cross there is just nonsensical. So it shocks me to see that it's even still considered on the paperwork, but thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the council on this item?
Yeah, I'm Harold Meeks. If you look at our park that we have, that's right there by Kmart, that's basically a roundabout. And it's a park that, I don't know who approved it. You can't have a walkway to get there. I almost got arrested by the police because I was helping old people cross the street. So I guess this isn't a good town for somebody that wants to get their badge that's in the Scouts. But I'm totally against roundabouts, and I think that it's a horrible idea that's going to make it where any pedestrian will get a ticket. I don't understand why you're going to set up something to be a problem and somebody's going to get killed, a pedestrian. But anyway, I'm totally against it, 100%.
Thank you.
Hi, Pam Swenson. I'd like to know, did you have a traffic design engineer involved in this at all, or just a roadway design engineer?
No, we had a traffic engineer.
Have you done a computer model with regards to traffic and how it would go, how it would flow around the roundabout with a variety of different vehicles, such as trucks and trailers and things like that? And then also, the only plan that I saw was of the roundabout. So are there going to be other plan options for the public to look at?
So when we get to that part of the discussion, there will be other options for us to consider and the public to weigh in on as well. So there was really amazing modeling done actually on the roundabout. It's on our city website, it's on our social media. You can also go look at our past meeting that modeled out, I think it was up to, if I recall correctly, 80 feet of truck trailer pulling through the intersection. It does have pedestrian walkways through there. It was pretty significant modeling that Councilmember Diaz referenced in his first opening comments as well. So that's available. I encourage you to go take a look at it and see what that is. And then when we get to that point of the conversation, when we get to 60%, we're actually talking about what that roadway might look like. And if that point roundabouts are part of the conversation or not, we have all of those modelings and all of those things to have those discussions at the.
Well, I know that roundabouts are usually less expensive to construct than a normal intersection. And in this case, because of the type of the people who will be using it, I don't want that to be a factor. I want it to be safety, because we're going to have a lot of people from out of state coming in here and using it. And as we all know, roundabouts are not that easy. And I've traveled all over the country and used roundabouts, and especially the complex ones with multiple lanes tend to confuse a lot of people. So I want it to be about safety first and not necessarily about budget. So that's my comment.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the council on this item?
Hi, my name is Derek Jones. Don't want to beat the roundabout thing to death, but I grew up in Massachusetts. It's all roundabouts. And I've had to deal with roundabouts that have had 5 to 7 roads intersecting into it. And there are tons of traffic collisions on normal traffic from what I remember people talking about, the second bridge is also for emergencies if something happens to the first bridge. I don't know if you've done traffic studies on what would happen if there was, say, a wildfire and the main London Bridge went out, and what kind of traffic and what kind of problems you would have with a roundabout versus lights that you can just turn all of them red and just have the bridge be green to get people off the island. But I just wanted to raise that concern and have you guys think of that in the future when we get to the 60%. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the council on this item? I'm sorry, you get one opportunity, Mr. Meeks. Yes. Yeah. Well, one opportunity, but yeah, we'll have more time to talk about this. Thank you. All right. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing, bring it back to council. Is there any additional comments or discussion? This item was presented this evening for council and the community, just for discussion, for an update. So there is no action of the council today, but yeah, Councilmember Dolan?
Just for discussion, I'm still really concerned about the second bridge. I've lived here my whole life, and 40 years ago, they said we needed a second bridge for emergencies. Big, ugly concrete bridge right behind the London Bridge. Great. Well, I know we want to call it Freedom Bridge, but it's going to be more like Island Development Bridge, because that's what's going to happen. The whole island will end up being developed, and I think we need to see past this. If we want to keep Havasu the way it is, the island is going to be totally done after this. Every piece of land the state's going to want to sell that, and it's going to be developed like crazy. If we want to expand, we expand out. I just don't see, I'm glad we were gifted $35 million. And like I said, this wouldn't have made the top 100 things on my list, and I was born and raised here. So I hope we can have some more discussion about this. I would love to see this go on a referendum that the people could vote, because I have not, other than people that love the idea of the bridge, that have loved the idea of the bridge for many, many years, people don't understand why we're doing this. And other than the utilities going through the bridge, I think is a great thing, making the most of it. But I hope that we could maybe get this to a referendum and have the people vote. I just don't see it. I think it's not fiscally conservative to spend our money this way just because we consider this free money from the state. So I hope we can have that discussion. And if we're going to continue with this, then maybe we look at the island and we say, great, then we want to keep the island just the way it is. We're going to lock that area in. And even if the state sells it, it's going to be public use the way it is right now, and it cannot be changed, because until that happens, people are always worried about developers coming in and taking over in Havasu. This is exactly where it's going to start with that island. So just for future discussion. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Dolan. All right. With no other questions or comments, we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, which is item 7.4, the cooperative purchase, installation, and maintenance of fire station alerting systems with Honeywell International, Inc. through U.S. Digital Designs Group. Chief Palafis.
Honorable Mayor, council members, audience, I appreciate everybody coming out for this item. This is the Lake Havasu City Fire Department currently relies on a station alerting system that was installed in 2001, which deems obsolete after 24 years of service. As we are making a transition to our new CAD system, our computer-aided system interface, and as we make plans for construction of Station 7, this presents an ideal opportunity to upgrade our obsolete system to a state-of-the-art system. Now, the station alerting system is connected from dispatch to each of our fire stations that alerts our first responders when a 911 call comes in or a call for service rendering the fire department needs a citizen needs assistance. So this is at each station, and we incorporated all 7 stations into this quote. Like I said, the system has been in service, the current system, for 24 years. We've been planning for the last 5 years since I've been here to upgrade this system for a new state-of-the-art system. So the new state-of-the-art system is going to significantly cut down on response times, alerting our firefighters and our first responders to get the calls quicker. The enhancements are reliable communication, which is a number one asset for first responders, having effective communication of where they need to be dispatched, improving response times, firefighter safety, clear pre-announcements. It's NFPA compliance. It's also expandable for future potential stations, or if we add on other agencies in the local area too that we can assist. It's firefighter friendly, and it's cost effective for the maintenance of it also. And it also has a new state-of-the-art heart safe tones, so it's not rapidly waking up the firefighters when they are resting and need to respond. So we're looking for your approval for the purchase, installation, and maintenance for the G2 system, U.S. Digital, through Honeywell, in the amount of $760,077.30. We do have this budgeted in the IT budget for this. And like I said before, it's going to be a true benefit for our first responders and our fire department to have effective communication between dispatch center and each of our fire stations, and that's including Station 7. Be happy to have any questions from anybody.
Yeah, thank you, Chief.
Thanks.
Are there any questions or comments from members of the council? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this item? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, bring it back to council. Councilmember Diaz, did you have a comment or a question?
Chief, is there an annual cost for maintenance?
There is an annual cost for maintenance. It's in the quote, but there is going to be a maintenance cost for the software.
Thank you.
Mayor, motion.
Yeah, Councilmember Moses.
Yeah, I move to approve the cooperative purchase, installation, and maintenance G2 fire station alerting systems from Honeywell International, Inc. through U.S. Digital Designs Group.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Moses, a second from Vice Mayor Lynn. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote. Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Koch?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 7.5, which is a cooperative purchase for the refurbishment of one 2014 Pierce Velocity engine pumper from Brindley Mountain Fire Apparatus, DBA Fire Trucks Unlimited. Chief Palafis.
Honorable Mayor, council member, I appreciate the opportunity to present this item. This is part of our 5-year plan for our vehicle replacement / refurb program. This is our last of our 5 years program. We are revamping our replacement program for the next 5 years during our budget process for this next fiscal year. So we have deemed one of our 2014 Pierce Velocities that was bought all as a group back in 2014 2014 is this is an opportunity to extend the life of those engines for another 10 to 15 years with the refurbishment. We currently have 2 refurbs that are currently in service right now, serving our community. We have one of our ladder trucks that is currently being completed and should be here in January, February of 2026. And this is going to be part of our continuous of our refurb program. Is it's a cost-effective method to bring this rig up to OEM standards and meet all the compliances necessary to extend the life of this. The rough period of this refurb is roughly about 12 to 18 months, give or take, is once they get into the rig, if they find anything that are unforeseen. That's why sometimes it's difficult for us to budget a number a year in advance because we've seen the increases in the prices. We're very happy with Fire Trucks Unlimited, always constantly reevaluating the process, but we hold them accountable to make sure that we're fiscally responsible with our refurbs, and it doesn't come back until it meets our specs. So we are asking, we currently have in the budget $475,000 is available in this fiscal year. The engine will go to Fire Trucks Unlimited in January. That's when our projected date. So what we're going to do is the estimated refurb cost is $510,356 as we received the quote, which is an additional about $35,000 what we budgeted about a year ago. So we're asking for the approval, but we're also asking for not to exceed $600,000 just for any unforeseen circumstances that occur during the refurb. So we appreciate your support with this program. Like I said before, we're revamping. I can't believe it's been over 5 years that we've been continuously replacing, but I truly support this program. We really believe in it, and we really need your approval for this to move forward. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. And I would just like to thank you and your team for your innovation to bring this program together. A new rig is well over $1 million.
It's about 1.3, and we're still waiting. We have 2 on order. We should be receiving it in 2027 and 2028. And the times we keep track, we're still seeing that delivery time in that range of about 3 to 4 years.
It's amazing that it takes that long and we have supply chain issues. But again, thank you for you and your team to look outside the box and bring a cost-effective solution to still serve our citizens in the same way. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Are there questions or comments from members of the council before we open the public hearing? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this item?
I'm Harold Meeks. I was just curious, they're diesel and the motors obviously are supposed to last 1 million miles. But what is it that wears out on a fire truck? I know that they're super maintained. I have some friends that were firemen and they do everything. They're constantly polishing, replacing. So I'm just curious what's wearing out. That they need this,
Great question, Chief.
No, I appreciate that question. Due to our inclement weather with our heat and the use of our rigs, we're running about 10,000 calls a year totality wise out of our stations. So it's the back and forth, the wear and tears. The engines are fairly reliable, and our maintenance, we have a great program. It's the internal pumps. It's the hard water that we have here that puts a lot of pressure on the internal components of the rigs. Our air conditionings go out all the time. That's why we've taken an innovative approach to put a separate air conditioning during the refurb to keep the rig cooler. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. What we have looked at is a cost-effective method of bringing these rigs back to their OEM specs, but also extending the service life at a reasonable cost. And they're still good rigs. Love that we don't have winter, we don't have salt, we don't have corrosion on our frames, but we just want to make sure that they're reliable to serve our community. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. Okay. There's about 8 pages of things that it includes, and it's available on our website, and you can see what it will be replacing.
I just want to say thank you for the proactive attitude that you have about equipment, looking into the future instead of reactive, always trying to catch up. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to address the council on this item? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council for discussion or possible motion.
Motion.
Yeah, Councilmember Diaz.
I move to approve the cooperative purchase for the refurbishment of one 2014 Pierce Velocity engine / pumper with Brindley Mountain Fire Apparatus doing business as Fire Trucks Limited in the amount not to exceed $600,000.
Second. We have a motion from Councilmember Diaz, a second from Councilmember Moses. Is there any additional discussion? We are ready to vote. Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Koch?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. All right, the next two items, actually, 7.6 and 7.7 are in regards to consideration for items down at Main Street Commons. So, Mr. Hart, if you don't mind, if you can actually run through both of the presentations, we'll vote on the items separately, but that way we can see the totality of the discussion, and when we're engaging with the public, we're not having a fragmented conversation. So we'll start with the award of a Main Street Commons Shade Canopies project to Merrill Development, Inc., and then we'll have a discussion about award of Main Street Commons Bathrooms Building and Concessions Building project to Merrill Development, Inc. Mr. Hart.
Yes, I can surely do that. Thank you, Honorable Mayor and City Council. Again, it's an honor to come before you tonight and talk to you about what I consider another exciting project, which is the Main Street Commons. And we're going to talk specifically first here about the Shade Canopies project. Most of you are familiar with where the Main Street Commons Park is. It's there at the intersection of Aquario Drive and McCulloch Boulevard. Last fiscal year, we were able to go in and complete a beautiful park, in my opinion. And we came up with something that looks really nice and works well. What we're looking to do as well is finish the shade canopy portion of this project. So we want to add an additional 8 shade canopies that were in the original bid as an additive alternate, and unfortunately the funds weren't there at the time to move forward with it. So we are hoping to do that tonight. The project schedule, should the council award this, would be 90 calendar days, so 3 months. The anticipated completion would be February of 2026. The engineer's estimate on this was $400,000. We had 2 bids come in, and the apparent low bidder was Merrill Development Incorporated, which had a base bid of $346,807. The recommendation is to award the construction contract to Merrill Development in the amount of $346,807. What I wanted to do is just talk briefly about the funding for the Main Street Commons overall up to this point. If you look at this pie chart, as you're aware, there were several grants that were involved in this project from the beginning, with ABC funding contributing 34% of the project, LWCF grant contributing 34%, the WIFA grant contributing 21%, and then general funds contributing 11%. If you were to break that down, that would be $1 million from the ABC funding, $1 million from the LWCF grant, $610,140 from the WIFA grant, and then $335,840 from the general. And this includes not only the construction contracts, but also the design and construction management contracts as well. So with that, I'm more than willing to take questions. Oh, we want to switch to the next one, right?
Yeah, let's do the next one, and then we'll come back to questions on both.
Hopefully I don't mess this up. So this is a very similar slide, so I apologize for the repeating. But again, you're aware of where the project is at. This is the beautiful park as it is today. This project, we're looking to for recommendation of award with the proposed bathroom building, which is located or will be located in the southeast corner of the park, just off of McCulloch, and then directly across the park will be the proposed concessions building. This is a 3D rendering of what the bathroom will look like once it's constructed. This is a 3D rendering of what the concessions building will look like once it is constructed. The project schedule, should the City Council choose to award this, would be 180 calendar days. putting the anticipated completion in May of 2026. The engineer's estimated base bid was $950,000. We were excited to have quite a bit of interest in this. We had over 8 contractors sharpen their pencil and submit bids with, again, Merrill Development Incorporated being the apparent low bidder at $1,059,423. This particular pie chart right here shows that the funding for the bathroom concessions, now we've gotten past the grants. We still have a community contribution out there, which will be equivalent of 38%, and then the general funds would be 62%. And the way that breaks down is a community donation of $400,000 with $659,423, the remainder coming from the general fund. The recommendation is for the construction contract to be awarded to Merrill Development in the amount of $1,059,423. And with that, I'll take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. So, and also thank you to you and the city team for bringing back this item. So initially on the original bid, when we awarded the contract for what is currently done, these were on there and we took them off because we said staff believed we could do the bathrooms and the additional accessories and shade at a less cost if we did not award it at that time, which proved out to be true. So that's what's in front of us now. So we asked you to bring it back to us when we could do it on our own, and now that's what's in front of us. I would like to go back and give just a little bit of a history of kind of even why we're here. So the ABC, or the America's Best Community Competition, started in around 2015, so over 10 years ago. We had this opportunity from the outgoing CEO of Frontier Communications. When she was retiring, she set aside a fund of $15 million and worked with a couple of partners in that process, basically to set aside economic development opportunities for rural America. That's really where Frontier was serving at that time. And so Lake Havasu City went through and we filed an application. I believe there was around 350 total applicants around the country. We made it through the quarterfinals, we made it through the semifinals, we made it in the top 10. Then we made it to the top 3, and we were a $2 million grand prize winner. And that was the competition side. But the real work that went behind that was a community-led initiative for the Vision 2020 revitalization program, which came together when citizens of all walks of life throughout the community, all organizations, civic, fraternal, economic development organizations came together, and we spent an entire Saturday at the gym at ASU. And we had it facilitated by the folks at Arizona Town Hall, and started that morning with a very blank canvas. And by the end of that day, I came up with 5 pillars of change in this plan. The first one was economic development and job creation. There was education and talent supply. There was tourism and place development. There was water and community engagement. You've seen lots of these projects that have happened throughout the community based on the outcomes of this plan. I share this with us as we've had some growth over the last 5 years, and you might not think 10 years ago, this is the conversation that the community led by citizens. And so with that, on each of those 5 pillars, there was different programs of work. A lot of the things you see with our school district, for example, the bond and override was part of those initiatives, which allowed for the safety and security measures that are occurring in our schools, the additional initiatives that are occurring in the school areas. On the tourism and place development, the Certified Tourism Ambassador Program was born out of that. Through the water pillar, there was some discussion about an environmental learning center. Through community engagement was how do we engage in the community and keep the plan moving forward. The co-work location, the Nomadic, as part of the Partnership for Economic Development, that was part of this. And then the Downtown Catalyst Project, which is now Main Street Commons. And so after the town hall of 200 people, the Saturday, and then after we won the competition, so there's these parallel tracks that are happening. There's the real work going on within our community to change the face of economic development, and make a real difference, which is what Maggie, the outgoing CEO, wanted from Frontier, as well as the competition. So once we won $2 million, we came back and had another town hall. And so now that we have the money, what should the priority projects be? And the money was allocated $1 million to the downtown catalyst, again, now Main Street Commons. And then it was $500,000 to what is now Nomadic. And then it was $400,000 or $500,000, excuse me, for the Environmental Learning Center feasibility. So those were the items, but again, led by the community. So through a town hall process, I shared just some of that history so we know where we went. And then where we find ourselves through this project, it was through lots of community input and public hearings that we got to where we are today. So this was a standing item on our Parks and Rec Advisory Board, several public outreaches and open houses with lots of great attendance. I mean, lots of people attended over the years. And so what we have in front of us today is the item was in the budget for last year. We chose not to do it because of the cost of the bid, thinking we could do it better. We then put it in our approved budget that we have for this fiscal year that started on July 1. And now we have what staff is bringing back at the direction of the council based on bring back the cost at a lower number that you thought it would be. So that's where we're at today. I just shared some of the history so we have perspective of where we were. With that, I'll open it up to any questions from members of the council.
Mr. Mayor, we're just going to discuss the first agenda item, correct? Just the shade canopies right now?
All of the questions, we're going to take separate votes for each, but if the conversation I think is going to intersect at some point, so if it does, that will be okay.
I understand. I think the problem with that is if we are only our public is only allowed to come up to speak on the item one time. I think that it's important that if they're coming up to talk about the shades, they talk about the shades and they have a second opportunity to talk about the rest of the park on the second agenda. I don't want to stop that from.
We have two public hearings, Vice Mayor Lynn. We'll have both public hearings, but if the citizens and the council want to intersect the conversations because they do, we're able to do that as well.
Okay, so this is not my favorite project. I voted no on everything from the beginning of buying the property on this. So I guess the only concern I have on this specific item with the shades, and then I'll talk about the other things later. We had Manswell Welding do the original plan. Can you go back, like maybe the third slide where we show the pictures? Keep going. Go back. Forward. Yeah, right there. Yep, right there. Okay, so I'm assuming Manswell put those posts up, correct? The ones that are up there that don't have the shade structure on? Did Manswell do that?
Correct.
Okay, so now we have a different company coming in to finish their work, correct? That's who are voting, that's you're suggesting today, Merrill Development.
Yeah, Merrill Development was our apparent low bidder to finish the case.
How do we know that they're going to be able to, because I don't like somebody coming in and finishing my project. I don't. So how do we know that they're going to come in and be able to finish it in the same way that Manswell did?
Yeah,
how can we guarantee that?
That's a fair question. So we will have the engineer that designed the shade canopies will be reviewing the submittals as well. And the proposal specs plans are very clear. It has to be the exact similar structure. So we'll have inspections. We'll be monitoring the submittals. We'll have the same.
Okay, I have a concern about that. The second thing is we have these shade structures all pointing in towards, I'm assuming, the center of the circle. I've driven down there and I took some photos at about 1:00. You never really fully, even if you're going to have it all the way around, are you going to get the center of that completely shaded? You're not going to. And then you have the park benches all around the outside of it that will never be shaded by it. So I don't understand this entire design at all. At all. I don't understand it. I don't think it's giving proper shade. And then there's even slats in between it. Like, go down there. You can see there's shade. I mean, there's shade, but it's like, you could put some trees out and got the same amount of shade. So I have a huge problem with the whole thing. It's going to look like a big space shuttle on top of it. So with that, that's all I have to say on that. Do you want me to continue on the other part?
If you have additional questions, yeah, please.
Okay.
Yeah, if you may, when we talked about the shade structure, when was I believe Dig Studios came out and they had somebody that the way that the sun hits it and the different times of the day, this is multiple years ago that they showed us this, but the angle, each one of those, if my understanding, was pitched a little bit differently based on the way the sun hits it. But again, I'm going off of my memory.
I remember that.
Okay.
There was some sundial
I think there's
type
some
thing.
method to the madness. I think it doesn't give us a full picture because we only approved half of the project, and that's what we're considering today on this particular design.
It's my understanding the goal was to cover the walkway, which is what you can see the shades are doing.
How does that make sense to shade a walkway where the food vendor trucks are going to be? Wouldn't you have the shade to cover the public that's out there watching the bands or whatever they're for, or the vendors that are out in the middle? It just really, really doesn't make sense of what we're doing the shade. If I'm a vendor, I probably have my own pop-up thing. I'm not the person sitting in the chair in the middle. Okay. Off that. All right. So the second part, I'm really, really confused with us saying that we're saving some money on the shade structures. I do understand because I'm looking at from March of 2020. You won't have this. It's March 27, 2024 that was on our agenda where we did a bid and we approved it on May 14th, I believe. We approved it. And the reason why we didn't approve the shade structure is because at that time it was $835,000. Now it's coming in lower at $346 because it's a different company. But to say that we didn't have the money for the bathrooms, the bid on this from then was $363,000. Now today we're looking at our low bid. Is it Merrill at 419, and that doesn't even include all the other what is it? 500? Did it break down? I don't know if it shows the breakdown between that and the concession stand. All I know is that we're looking at a concession stand to cost more than a bathroom. And our first bid that we had didn't even have a concession stand on. So I'm not even quite sure how that came in. Besides, I understand that the PD and Gold Lake Havasu are giving back that money to build it, but that was never even in any of our original bid. We had artificial turf, we had a pedestrian bridge, we had shade structures, we had bathrooms. We never even had a concession stand. And if you look at the new bid that we have, how did we get from the same company, Concord, go from $363,000, even though that's not who we're looking at proposing, to, hold on here, we went from 363 in May to 519 from the same company. I have so many problems with this, and it's all lumped together in one bid. It's a different company. It's got things on it that wasn't the original bid. And then I still want to ask about the grants. We say this is all grant money. I'd like to know our grants, the WIFA grant and the other grant, what were the specifics that those grants were written for? Like, I want to know what that is. What did we write those grants for and what did we get for it? Were the grants for the grass? Were they for the concrete? Like, what were they for? And did they actually go towards that? Like, I have so many concerns on this project of costing the taxpayers $1.5 million for bathrooms and a concession stand. So that's all I have to say, because I'm going to vote no on it no matter what. I just wanted the public to have that information. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Lynn. So were you saying that in the document that you have from 2024 that the restrooms were $500,000 roughly?
No, they were 363
for in the 2024.
Yep.
Just for the bathroom building,
Just
and
for the
what we're considering this evening would be for the bathrooms and a concession building.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yeah, Councilmember Diaz.
Yeah, I also have issues with some of this stuff, and I just want to go back, and I don't debate anything that you said about the Vision 2020 and the community got together and they wanted a downtown gathering space. I agree with all that stuff. I just don't think that this is the way we get there. I was in the audience as just a citizen back in 2021 when this council, I wasn't up here, voted $1 million. We knew we had $1 million from the ABC grant, the ABC prize winning money, and it was said at that time that $1 million was the budget for this project. Then I went to the Parks and Rec meeting, the week later, advisory meeting, and that was even reiterated to them by Vice Mayor Lynn to that group that the budget is $1 million. And there was a little pushback, and she rightfully said, we're awarding $187,000 of that $1 million to this Dig Studios. So now we're down to $883,000. We go back and look at the video. So fast forward, we're at $1 million, and now if you add everything up, we're at $4,389,000, and that's with the grant money and so forth. So I just think that this has not been done properly from the beginning. Unfortunately, I was not up here at the time to vote on things. But when I first walked through this project with city manager and with the PED to show me, I walked in there to say I wanted to get a walkthrough and see what was going on. I thought my question I asked is, when are we putting up the rest of the shade structure? Because I thought this was just half of what we're doing, or less than half. And I was told, well, that it was going to cost $880,000. I almost fainted just for the metal shade structures. But long story short, I get the vision, I get the idea, I get the reason we want to do it. Can I ask a question of someone in the audience right now or no? I'd like to find out what did it cost to build the nomadic building? What was the total cost to build a nomadic building? Okay, and that's a good big building.
So for those at home, the answer was $2.2 million.
I'm sorry, thank you.
Yes.
So we're spending over $1 million to build a concession stand and a restroom.
I would like to caution, no disrespect to our council members, but these are completely different times we're talking about. So
I understand.
So Nomadic is a steel building that was built several years ago, to even 2021. I recall that meeting. I was in that meeting where it was $1 million was the budget, but that was that was before a lot of the issues with construction rising and some of the demand that's increased. So some of those things changed. We look at this area and it looks like it's a flat area today. It looked like it was a flat area before we even began, but it was 880 dump truck loads of sand.
I know that. I think here's the problem, and maybe I'm going to say something I shouldn't say. I think the problem is that we approve a budget, which is our job by a certain date, by end of June, and the money it's information is out there in the universe, and these people know how much money we put on these projects. So a building that should cost maybe $100,000, they know we're going to spend $500,000 in the budget. So I'm going to bid $500,000. That's just the way it happens, because it's amazing to me. They always come in like right where our budget number is. You could build a 3-bedroom, 3-bath house with an RV garage and a pool for $375,000. And we're going to spend, and I still don't know why we need a concession stand. We have businesses down there, restaurants that are going to sell food. We're going to have food trucks. Why do we need a concession stand? But quite frankly, it's going to be a $500,000 storage unit when it gets done with it. That's just my opinion. I'm only one vote, but I want to reiterate, I agree with we need a gathering spot to draw stuff down there. I just think this has not been done properly from the beginning, and it reminds me of the money pit right now at this point. So,
I appreciate your comments. The amount in the budget was carried forward from the last year, and so the number hasn't changed. We knew we'd be there. I don't disagree with your statement, but we have state procurement laws that we have to follow, and so it makes it a little bit tricky for us.
I know.
But I think it shows that this council understood that, and we said, hey, we're not going to do the ad alts on the last time we considered this item because of the cost. And now again, staff is bringing this back at our request at this lower price for consideration.
And then one thing I want to say before I'm sorry, Mayor. And I don't think to vote yes on something just to get it behind us and move it forward and not talk. I think that's a very bad reason to vote on something. We should make sure we're doing it right. And so we don't, because we're going to have to own this up here and down the road. So I don't think to vote just to say, let's just get it behind us and get it over with. It's been out here for 5 years now. We're tired of talking about it. I think that's a horrible reason to vote yes on something.
I appreciate that. And I hope that my words didn't indicate that I just want to have this behind us. But, what we're putting forward right here is what the citizen-led initiatives through all the public hearings brought forward. So do I love the design myself? No, but is this what the citizens came up with all of those public hearings? Yes. So that's what we're here to serve. But
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Dolan?
This is tough. I agree with a lot of this stuff that's been said. Really quick, can we go back to the first slide in this picture, in this show? Okay. My concern was, and maybe this is something we can fix in the future, because I went back and looked at the meeting from May 14th last year. These were the pictures we had. We had this, we had like one with grass. Now can we go to picture 2? If they would have showed me this picture, I would have voted no, because of those spears of death and the shade and all of that. But now that they're here, I mean, I just don't want to get to the point where we're just pointing fingers. It's stupid. Okay, but what are we going to do with it? And I don't think, I'm leaning towards yes at the moment right now, because of the fact that I do believe we need to finish this. What are we going to do with what we have? Are we going to just bulldoze the whole thing? No, I would love to see us chop those things down. But the point of the matter is, to me, the shade thing was dumb from the beginning, but there are pockets of shade, and it's also the design. This is what we have. And to me, the best solution right now is to, like I said, to go from 800 to 300,000 ish to put the shade up and finish it. So, because it is a heavily used park. People do really utilize it. I'm also very much against the bathrooms, the homeless and that part of it, and to have them. But it's also, they're going to be in those, until I'm down there and have to use the bathroom, I'm probably going to regret that I didn't want the bathroom. So they are heavily used. And if we can have the locks and do what we do, this is a very busy park, and maybe not, it's not designed how I would have wanted, because I used to take off and even land balloons there, but which you can't do now. But considering what we have in front of us with this picture, what is the most economical way we can fix it, get it to where it looks complete and it is as functional as we can get it? I'm okay with what we have in front of us. If we could go back to the drawing board and rewind it and fix it, I would have done it totally different. But where we are right now and what's our next move, I feel this is the best option that's in front of us. It's the only option that's in front of us. So I don't like it, but like I said, I didn't design it. And so my hope is for future items, maybe we can spend a little bit more and get those 3D renderings. Cause like I said, if we had seen this, I think there would have been a lot of questions. Why are we doing that? What is, but we just saw the one cartoon look with, I think, a kind of shade like that. But the fact that those spikes went all the way around there, I guess if you do look at it from the first slide, you can kind of see the little marks there. But I would like to see us in the future, almost like we would do a plan development. It needs to be done just like this. And if it's not done like this, and if this isn't the picture that's in the front of the newspaper that everybody looks at and agrees with or doesn't agree with, but this isn't what I voted for, but I do believe we need to finish it and make it as functional as we can with the reason. And so I am glad we are coming back with the things, with the shades cheaper. I'm still concerned about the bathrooms being the way they are, but if we wait another year and do it, I'm sure they'll go up another 150,000. So that's all I got.
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Dolan. Are there any other comments or questions before we open the public hearing?
Mayor.
Yeah, Councilmember Campbell.
And concerns. I'm over here. It's 3:00 in the morning in Portugal. I'm here to talk. Here we are. When it comes to this, I am somebody that watched the whole plans. I was the one that was concerned about the circle cost. I was concerned that even vendors couldn't park very well on a circle. I was concerned about irrigation. I also brought up the fact I knew you were going to have 800 loads of dirt pulled out of there, and I think that was a wrong design. I went to a point of getting a 3D design and brought it to the city planners and gave them everything, including ways that we could do a pickup and drop off area. You guys wadded it up, threw it in the trash, and didn't listen. So I voted no, because I knew this thing was going to be over budget. And what I would need to answer the question, everybody's saying, oh, we got a good deal. It's only $300,000 for these shades. The original shades were $850,000. I don't have it right in front of me. I watched the videos too. The shades, obviously you can tell there has to be at least $500,000 we gave to Manziel to get them where they're at now. I saw the gable boxes that we had to put in the ground. I know how much concrete is poured into those things to make those stay in that position. So we're not just getting shade covers for $360,000. Can somebody verify to me that's correct? This is only to put the additional shade covers on the original plan, which was only supposed to be $850,000. I want to know what is the number, maybe somebody can tell me, that we already gave Mansell to do the original work on the shades.
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Campbell. Mansell was not hired. Mansell was, we offered a contract, and Mansell was a subcontractor. I don't have that information right now. I'm sure that someone from the team can get it to. It doesn't look like anyone has it with them this evening.
Okay, well, the Concord stated that the total bid would be like $851,000 completed to do all the shades in the visual that we saw. So obviously Mansell got probably paid a substantial amount already. And now we're coming back and having to pay the additional 8 shades only. You can do the math right there of what it's costing each shade. You know what we paid on those other shades. So when we're hearing, oh, well, we're getting it at a better deal, we are not. I'm assuming it's probably even more than the original 800. Also, the original Concord bid to build the bathroom was only $360,000. We say only. I built a whole 1,800 square foot home for my mom for $340,000. So I questioned some of those prices too. But there were, like you said, a lot of contractors came to the table. That's the bids that they're giving our city. But my husband and I review some of these bids, and we are shocked that we are allowing. I think that we are giving precedence to allowing contractors to throw massive amounts. Just for the electrical alone, Concord had over $400,000 for just wire work, and additional $180,000 for lighting fixtures. That to me is shocking. But again, that's an overall bid that we looked at, the original 2.6. So here we are today. What I do know, when I go back to that meeting, every one of us, including the planning and the Parks and Rec department, wanted bathrooms. They wanted access to the second bridge, at least put footings in, something. Those 2 items were on the original Concord options. It was a bridge for about $450,000, and it was bathrooms for $362,000. What did we do? We turned around and spent almost $1 million on shade structure. Nobody on that council gave that direction, nor did the Parks and Rec department. And here we are today wondering how we can pay this enormous amount when we don't have a bathroom. As for the concession stand, never a discussion, never a direction. So here over in Portugal, when I get a combined bid that says for your both of these 2 items just packaged together, I'm supposed to vote on that, that's a no for me, because I never said I wanted a concession stand. That was supposed to be a public-private partnership. Councilmember Moses, even in the same meeting that I saw, said, let's keep that open for the potential long-term partnership that we were always supposed to have. What are we doing? We're spending almost $500,000 for a vending session, a concession session for the Partners of Economic Development to use. I'm very disappointed with that. To turn around and sell beer when we're the Partners of Economic Development, we should not be competing with all the bars and restaurants on that street. So to me, the concession stand, it was just thrown in there, and let's see what we can get away with. And when I sit back and I hear the citizens day in and day out say, why can't we even finish the sign at the beginning of Main Street? Where's the money for that? So it's a no for me. On both of them, because instead of $50,000 to finish these shades, let's finish the arch that we promised people. And we had great partnership with people back then, a lot of volunteer work, a lot of help. People loved it. And I don't know why it just disappeared. And this park has now become, like Councilmember Diaz says, the money pit, as far as I'm concerned. So you guys know where I'm going to stand on this. It does bother me a lot. I think there would have been a better way to do it. I think sales right now would be a lot cheaper. There's a lot of other options, but from get-go, I tried to give you some really good options that could save us money, including the grade on that lot, but I was not heard. And so I'm assuming I'm not going to be heard now, but at least the citizens hear me loud and clear. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your comments. Are there any additional comments before we open the public hearing? All right, this is a public hearing. You don't have to sign up, but we did have some speakers sign up. to start, and then we'll open up to anyone else. But Jim Russell or Steve Dickner, and if you don't want to start, you don't have to start either. But just that you signed up, I want to give you the respect to do so. Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Steve Tickner with DSM Events. My partner, Jim Russell, and I do or produce many of the major events in town, and one of them being Desert Storm. I would like to start off by saying thank you to the City Council and the Parks Department, Guy Reynolds, for your hard work in getting that park done prior to Desert Storm this year. It was a wonderful experience, I think, for everybody that went down there. It was a beautiful setting, and we weren't quite sure what to expect out of it. But at the end of the day, it just turned out to be just fantastic. So, just a couple of comments I think we have in regards to the shade structures in particular. What we had down there, what we experienced during the event, the shade structures were actually quite efficient. We observed that there was, just amazing amount of shade just for the ones that were already there. So I can picture, if that was completed, which, I'm kind of in favor of that, to complete the look. And also, it's not, not something that's meant, as somebody commented, to provide shade for the whole entire area, but just to give plenty of shade all around. And as the sun moves around, obviously, you're going to get shade from different angles, having that completed all the way around. So as it goes from early afternoon to the evening, that's going to provide more nice shade for everybody that is down there to attend those events in that park. So, that's my 2 cents on that. So, Jim, you have something to say?
Yes. Yes, and speaking of 2 cents, we're as horrified by the figures as you all are. Fortunately, we don't have to pay for them directly. We were fortunate to be the first to use the commons. We were pleasantly surprised how well it worked. We were equally horrified at the vision of the shade structures. But as Steve said, they did work. And we received from all of our users, vendors, and sponsors that occupied the park great compliments on it. The figures are beyond belief. But we're a city that was born in events. This city was built from Robert McCullough producing an outboard boat race before there were paved streets to drive on to lure people to town. And it is very gratifying to see that there is a renewed enthusiasm from all departments for the events that have helped build the town. And the cooperation would take the opportunity to thank all departments and to applaud the direction that Go Lake Havasu is now moving in towards supporting events and using them as a selling tool for our city. It needs to be finished, and it's probably just going to cost more the longer it takes to do it. But it does work. It's a great park. I don't know about the money. I would be equally horrified if I was on your side of the table. But thank you for letting us use it. Thank you for building it. Let's finish it. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to address the City Council on this item? At this point, you would just make your way to the podium, state your name for the record.
Good evening, Gianna Kraft. First of all, I'm going to get ripped off on time here on 2 items, only get 5 minutes, should get 10.
We're going to be opening up another public hearing for the next item.
Thank you. Okay, I wasn't clear on that. So can you go back to your breakdown of the funding slide on the project where you broke out on the bathroom slide okay, so is this the shade funding? No, this is the bathroom concession. Okay, so on the shade funding, you didn't break down actually where the funds would be actually coming from. As far as I understood, they're kind of blended together at this point now. You said you had 2 bids on the shade structures. So did Manziel resubmit a bid for this? And Merrill came in lower. Is that?
Yes, that was the case. We had a.
Okay. And Merrill's out of Yuma. So now we don't have a local company doing this. We're going to go outside. Because on the bathroom slides and stuff, you didn't go back to the actual shade slides so we could actually see the breakdown of how you have this.
Yeah, we can go back there, Ms. Kraft.
Okay, thank you.
It's right there. It's that first one at the top there, Mr. Hart. Yeah, the pie chart.
Was that the original breakdown? I don't believe.
It's the breakdown for the entire project as it stands today. Up to this point, 11% of the total funding has been general fund dollars.
Okay.
34% of the total project, this is shade and everything that you see down there today, is been 34% through the winnings from our America's Best Community Competition, the ABC funding. The LWCF grant, 34% of the project has been paid for by that.
And then on the next slide, you guys gave a breakdown of what it's going to cost to finish the actual project.
This takes those percentages into dollars.
Okay. And can you go forward one more slide, please? So we can just revisit. Okay. So somewhere in there, I guess I missed, where was the slide with the 400,000 donation contributions? Was that on the second one that we're talking about? I mean, it's all kind of
and
blended together now.
Yes, so I can go back to that one if you want. Well, no, that's the engineer's estimate for the.
Yeah. Wish we would have kept it
right here and your one.
Ms. Kraft, we're going to do them both, but they're intersecting conversations. So yeah, you can also talk right now about the shade if you'd like, and then come back up at the next public hearing.
Okay. So 400,000 community donations, and then 659,000 is coming out of the general fund or already has come out of the general fund.
If approved this evening, it would come out of the general fund.
Okay. All right. And this is for the actual bathrooms, but you guys did not provide this information on the actual shade.
The shade canopies is all general fund, so it
is all general
funds.
One
big circle that shows 346.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure I had that straight. At least it didn't seem clear, kind of blended together. So, all right. Thank you.
She has to be tall too. Hello, Mayor, City Council. I love you guys. I just want you to know that. Bonnie. I went to one of the days during the Desert Storm event, and I walked and took all the pictures and looked at the event, and I asked questions of the vendors that were there. I don't know if you know this, but some of the vendors were telling me that they had to readjust the way they sat up the whole plot of it because there was no shade and the sun was coming at them on the way they were designed, and they had to reconfigure their situations. When I walked through there, because there was only the two shade structures, there wasn't that much shade over the whole thing. I just went there before I came here, and looking at the shade, the way it was set up, I really don't understand your picture, because where the benches are, where people would probably be sitting if they were just at the park, to hang out at the park, there is no shade over those benches, even in the evening. I'd be happy to show you the pictures I took just now. And also, something I did not understand when I was down there, at the end of the walkway, where if you look at your pictures, you show where you would be putting a band thing. It looks like there's 3 flagpoles there. And flagpoles aren't mentioned anywhere. And I didn't understand how flagpoles ended up being added to the park. And then the website back in May does show that the bathrooms were not going to cost as much as they are now. And even though you say that the cost of things have gone up, I don't understand how they've gone up that much. It seems to be quite a big cost increase. However, I would like to know, what is the shade structures shading?
Yes, Ms. Toy, if the shade structures based on the original design change, as you said you indicated when you went to Desert Storm, as the sun changes during different seasons and different times of the day. So it creates pockets of shade or places for refuge for people that are attending events or using the facility at different times. So it's different at each time a user's using it.
Okay. Also, do the shade covers, that are being approved for today, are they going to be covering the picnic tables that are there? Or are those a separate shade canopy thing that will have to come?
This would finish the shade structure. That what we have right in front of us this evening for consideration is finishing the rest of the shade that around the circle with the additional poles that are already installed. It would put those panels in.
The poles that I was talking to look like, again, flag poles all the way at the end. I'm talking about the picnic tables. There's 2 picnic tables that have poles there, but it doesn't say anything about shade canopies being over there. And you're saying that you're pricing the $363,000 is for the 8 unfinished ones. That would be a separate one.
So I think that your question just was answered. So yeah, with the 8 is what this will be, what we're considering this evening,
right?
Not over by the picnic tables.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And the bathrooms from the conversation last May included just the bathroom building. Today's consideration includes concession stand bathrooms with storage. Yes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is John Parrott. I live at 2490 Lehman Drive. I'm employed by Coldwell Banker Commercial Real Estate, and for the record, I do own several properties on McCulloch Boulevard, but none of them are in a proximity to the McCulloch Commons. The first thing I have to say is I'm pretty disappointed that some of the council people have decided how they're going to vote before they hear what I have to say. I was going to talk about the history that Cal did, so I'm going to totally skip that. I think that everybody needs to know the city was the driving force in the ABC thing. When those projects were identified, the city basically said to all those volunteers, we're going to spend this money on that. So in my opinion, you have a moral obligation to finish the park. If you don't like the way it was designed, the volunteers didn't design it. But we can't have a facility. And I'm sorry I used the word park because I never considered it to be a park. It's a gathering place. It's an economic development tool. It has nothing to do with Rotary Park or Cypress Park where you go to have recreation with your kids. So, gathering places have proven economic viability. Look at the Prescott courtyard, the area, the square that's bounded by all the Western bars. Look at Flagstaff, where the Babbitt family donated a whole city block. And all they did was put up a stage and some electricity so there could be entertainment. It's been a boom to downtown Flagstaff. They look at Telluride, Colorado, that was nothing but a ski place and then nothing else. And they built a little stage, and now it has festivals that rival everything. I also understand that the Commons is going to be the new headquarters for First Friday, which I think is something that benefits a lot of our citizens, and that it makes a lot of sense to me. So I think the Commons is going to be a good investment for our community. But I want to jump off on a different topic. I think instead of being here arguing about whether we should spend this money, we should be celebrating the fact that our city is so well run that we actually have the money to do these things. You know, my understanding is your budget this year, you gave employees raises, you got the ambulance program going, you've funded lots of extra money for roads. So you all need to be congratulated for doing a great job, and you've got some extra money. You're going to build a pool. I'm never going to benefit from that pool, but I'm not going to stand up here and tell you that you shouldn't spend that money, because a lot of people will make use of it. We're building a new fire station. I'm not going to benefit because I don't live in that area, but I'm never going to tell you not to spend the money, because it's something that my neighbors who live in the foothills will benefit from. I think the same is true with the gathering place. And people want to say, oh, well, you shouldn't spend that money, but we should be celebrating the fact that we have that money, and all of these things are one-time expenses. It's not like you're hiring $1 million worth of employees, and that's going to go on year after year. This is an expenditure. You spend it and you're done with it, other than maintaining it. So I think all in all, this is a good investment, and it is a moral obligation of the city to follow through with what was said was going to be done. But we've got the money, and so better to finish it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know. I'm Harold Meeks. I drive by the park every day, and I hardly ever see a soul there. And everybody that asked me about it said, "Did you guys have a hurricane in your area?" And I said, "Why? Would you say that?" And he said, "Well, that place that has those shredded pieces of metal hanging on it, obviously you had something that happened here." And I said, "No, if you can believe it or not, somebody thought that was going to look really cool." I didn't like the design from the beginning, and I think that we should rethink it and maybe turn those a little so that we get more shade out of. I just think it's a money pit, and I personally am a little ashamed of it. I try to kind of point them to the other side of the street when we're driving by, because I don't want them to see that. But we have it now, and I definitely think that it's a wrong thing to put a concession stand, because it's supposed to be helping the other businesses, even though I don't have a business there. I think that's super counter. It's just totally going against everybody that has a business there. But bathrooms might not be a bad idea, but there are a lot of places around there that have bathrooms. And if somebody comes into your place to use your restroom, a lot of times they feel bad. So maybe, I'll just grab a beer while I'm here, or a hot dog, so I don't know that it necessarily is something that's going to help the businesses either. I think that sometimes not having a bathroom there will bring more business to the businesses that are around there. But we've spent a lot of money and got something that looks like a hurricane hit it, but I think we really need to look at it and maybe change so we get more shade. This is a really hot area, and shade is a good commodity. And if you want people to go there, they need shade. And putting more of that metal isn't going to give you much shade. If it was turned, you could get twice as much as you have with the same piece of metal, but bad design.
Mr. Meeks, I would encourage you to go to the website and watch the public hearing when that happened, when you're talking about turning the pitch of that roof. Again, I'm just going off of my memory, but the way that they did each pitch was to get the optimal shade structure. So if it went flat, you would get it when the sun is above at high noon, but not in the evening when it's coming down. But it was a very compelling presentation. So you can go back and watch it on our website. Yeah, thank you.
I'm not sure what that presentation on shade was, but I was at the Desert Storm event on the boulevard and in the park and the commons. It was a great event, and thank you guys for putting it on and bringing it to the city. It was it was very hot. There was no shade. The shade was we were running from one tent to the other pop-up to the other person's trailer. We were hiding under the shade of the vendors. There was no shade. The shade structures just simply don't work. So I understand what Councilmember Dolan says, that we should probably finish it. It looks awful the way that it is. I'm not sure it's going to improve much with by finishing it, but we should do something to finish it. It looks awful. And for someone to say that it's a beautiful structure, no one thinks it's beautiful. Any of the citizens that you talk to, it's an embarrassment, a simple embarrassment that we spent that kind of money on that. You voted to spend our taxpayer money on that. You voted to spend the money that we got for that. Anyway. And then you say it's a citizen initiative. The citizens didn't. This is not what we wanted. You voted for this. And we're going to continue to get this high bids until you vote no. Until you say no to these bids, they're going to keep coming in. You're setting the prices this way. I'm totally echoing what Council members Diaz, Lynn, and Campbell say. This is until you say no to this stuff, it's just going to continue. Originally, this was supposed to be bathrooms, and there was supposed to be a bridge, and then there was also the whole idea of the food trucks in a food court supposed to work, not a concession. So it seems like the PED pulled this concession thing in for their benefits on First Fridays, and so now anyway. Where was I? I think I basically said everything that I wanted to say. I don't know what you're going to do with it. It needs to be finished, yes, but I think that you should. I think that you should start exercising the word no. That you don't want that bid, and you want other bids that are acceptable. And until you say no, that bid's not acceptable, they're going to keep coming the way they are. And that's the problem with the city council is they rubber stamp everything instead of saying no. That's an unacceptable bid. Thank you.
And Mr. Lutz, we're doing exactly what you just gave us the advice to do. So today we're coming back because we said no and on May 14th last year.
I still have a minute. Yeah, I still have a minute. You said no. You didn't say no to the outrageous bid of $3 million for the commons. It should have included the bathrooms. It should have included the bridge. It should have included shade. It should have included all that. You didn't say no then. You didn't say no.
It would have cost more to do it that way, and we said no.
Then you should have said no until you got a bid that worked.
That's why we're here.
Good evening, Council. James Gray with Partnership for Economic Development. Just a couple quick notes. We've operated 49 First Fridays down there. I kind of echo some of the comments that DSM put in there. I think a lot of times when you think about putting on an event, it seems pretty easy. But you need barricades, you need stages, you need signage, you need all these kinds of things. And when you don't have that, you have to create that. And so we do night events. And so we have to have some ability to have some consistency for concessions. That's why we were proactive. We asked Go Lake Havasu to come join us and add $200,000 apiece to add this as an option for City Council to take a look at what would be a functional event center. If you remember, this place has been an event center the whole time, even though it's been a piece of grass. How much more is it going to be an event center when people can access a stage, they can access fencing, when they can utilize being able to serve beverages, when they can plug in food trucks, when they have lighting at night, and when they have bathrooms and shade. I mean, that's a real thing. I think we already have, I think I heard the other day, we have 8 events for Main Street Commons planned now before the first of the year. That's really great. That means all those events, when people come in there and they spill out, they're going to go into our retailers, our restaurants, our bars, and they're going to really get to know the new emerging downtown. And that's the last thing I would encourage you with is when we started First Friday, we've heard this a lot, like you compete against bars. Well, a lot of those bars donate products to us because we sell and bring people downtown. We're open 27 hours a year. We're a benefit to them to encourage art, music, and community. And so I would encourage you to think about how many new restaurants, how many new bars, how many new office spaces. You guys are putting up Trailhawk. I mean, I'm down there all the time. Downtown is getting busy, and having a completed event center is only going to encourage that. And so I would encourage you to step forward and finish it. I'm not here to talk about the design. I wasn't a part of it. But you know what? When we start First Friday on November, there'll be thousands of people in there ready to enjoy the new space. So creating the new options and finishing it is going to be better for every single citizen. So I encourage you to take that step, just like I did last time. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Could you go back to the where you see the grass? Whereabouts are you going to put the bathroom? And what street is that pickup is parked on? Okay, you going to put the bathrooms on McCullough?
Yes, sir. Let's see if I can go back here. Oh, there we go. So if you look at this picture here, this represents the park from an aerial view. And if you were to look down at the southeast corner, it says proposed bathroom, which is just off of McCullough near the Pima Wash.
The brown area on the right-hand side down near the bottom, what is that brown area?
That is decomposed granite. Sorry.
Gravel.
Yeah, Mr. Wisdom, that's already there. That's what it looks like today, and it's putting the bathroom on top of it, adjacent to McCullough, closest to the wash.
Okay. The bathroom on McCullough, I don't like that idea. I would think you put the bathroom either on the side street or something. I don't think it looks good. And the picture you showed looked like something horrible. The restrooms they have on the channel look better than what you had in that picture. And those bathrooms seem to function very well. The other thing, we talked about shade. There's an industry called like circus tents. They could put a portable tent in the middle of that for the shade in the summertime. It also benefits the grass because you get the heat off of the grass, and it would look more appropriate. And then when we don't need that canopy up, it can be taken down. It can be taken down in a day and put up in a day. It would add a lot of benefits in colors to the area. Thank you.
Thank you.
When you sit at the back of the room, nobody knows you're also trying to get up. So thank you for your patience, because I was bobbing, and I appreciate that. My name's Lisa Kruger. I'm here tonight as a private citizen. I'm going to speak a little bit about what I used to do, which was I did run the Lake Havasu Area Chamber of Commerce for 22 years. I've done countless events on what is now the event center when it was just a dirt lot, and then it had grass on it for a while. I would like to say, although I know there's a lot of controversy about the restrooms and the concession stands, those things are needed. As somebody who was an event promoter, yes, there are a lot of bars and restaurants on McCulloch Boulevard, but when you bring in Desert Storm, when you bring in Winterfest, you can't even get into those brick and mortar businesses. You just can't. And so also most of the nonprofits that do put food trucks, or they put a beer garden down there in what we used to just call the lot, that's part of their fundraising effort. So it's not just to make money for them as a for-profit, because most of these people are nonprofits. So that's part of the event revenue. The other thing I want to speak to, I also, like John said, I was going to talk about the history of how this all came to be, because I was a member of the original committee, and I was also a member of the original competition team. So I'm one of the people that actually got to go to the ABC competition the first time it was in Raleigh, North Carolina, and participate in that. And it was such an honor, and we were so proud, Cal and I. We didn't have a big job. We did a lot of this, holding up signs and stuff, but it was great, and we were so proud to do it. And I also want to agree with what John Parrott said, is for all of the people that participated from the get-go, we've been waiting for this just like everybody else has. So we would definitely like to see it done. I know you're probably not, I'm thinking you're not going to make a decision on all of this tonight, but we really just need to move forward and come to an agreement. And some of us are going to have to agree to disagree on what the design is. The design's already there. There were numerous public meetings where people could go and make comments at that time, but yet we always wait until the job is done. And so then we have to go and backtrack. So I think we need to move forward. We need to look to the future and how this really can affect downtown, and how it can make all of the events that happen on that, and just provide that little resting space for people when they're downtown shopping. Maybe there haven't been a lot of people on the park site this summer because, when it's 110, I don't walk around downtown either. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Hi, Council and Mayor. Cindy Ritter. First of all, I'll say that I am a little bitter about the park because of all the pokey things, and we can't launch balloons there anymore. On another hand, we have to finish it. It is what it is. You can't change the design. You can't change what's there. We need to finish it. The bathrooms, we need. And as Lisa just said, concession stand, if you've got a nonprofit to go in there, they're going to make the money as a nonprofit. And that is, that's very, very beneficial to that nonprofit. Speaking from military moms, if we had the option to go in there and sell snacks or whatever to make money for military moms to help veterans in town, we would definitely do that. So, but I don't like the bids either. It's a lot of money, but we need to finish it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Brian Springberg. The first thing I wanted to ask was a little clarification on the city's, the actual bid process, because if anybody's kind of a little bit more knowledgeable about this, what municipalities pay for construction projects and the private sector pays is typically quite different. I would assume much worse to the municipal side of things. But can you explain a little bit about why what most of us would assume to be outrageous cost for these kinds of things? Why is that? There's a bid process. So in other words, you're sending this out, and you guys, I'm going to go on a limb and assume that the 7 of you are all on the same page for paying as little as possible for something that's as good as possible, regardless of what you agree or disagree on design and everything else in your world. I'm going to assume that's the case for anybody who takes the time to run for council. So what is it that in the bid process, if you wouldn't mind answering, Mayor, that is pushing this as high as it is going?
Thank you for that question. There's been a lot of numbers thrown around. So what we're considering this evening is $346,807 for the shade canopies. That's the first item. So that it's about $350,000 total. But we have state procurement laws, and when we go out to bid, we have to put all of that out there. They have to submit by a certain time, a certain required time of the day. Bids are then open in a public process. So people are there in public looking at those bids as they're open, as they're tabulated. The tabulations are in our packets. They're also available online for all citizens to participate in that part of the conversation. And each person has to meet the scope of service on what's out there. In May of last year, we had alternates, which allowed us to not award the bathroom at that time because the cost was too high and that additional shade. And that's what we're back here doing today. But again, we have to follow those state laws, which is a little bit different than working with a friend or someone you know to be able to build a home for $345,000.
So your options then, when you want to do a project, when you want to help the fire department, when you want to build this, whatever, your option is to put it out to bid, accept the lowest/best bid, or just not do it.
Correct.
And that's how that function works. So I think everybody here is concerned about the money, but I assume so are you. And so it's just a question of whether or not the community wants the project or not. And we're going to go with the lowest bid that we can get, and go from there. I don't know how many of you were in the community when the aquatic center issue first came about. But I was, and my family moved here in 1973, and there was a huge negative outcry about taxpayer money being wasted on the aquatic center. The aquatic center, of course, has since become and has been from maybe the second year on, the first year, 6 months in, one of the most beloved things that we have ever done. In fact, now we're doing a second one. I can't help but think in the scheme of things, we're going through the same exact thing. We're all going to be pushing back and forth on design. We're all going to be pushing back and forth on cost. But at the end of the day, the city is overwhelmingly benefiting, loves it, and nobody is even thinking about the issues that were discussed at that time. No different than, I'm going to guess, 12 months after you guys hopefully finish this thing, is going to be no different. I would assume that tourists, local citizens, and the businesses down there are all going to be forgetting about all the things we're concerned about today and for it. And the other thing is that most communities of our size are always fighting the growth issue versus the quality of life issue. What do we sacrifice when we let too much growth in for quality of life for residents? Or what aren't we doing to help ourselves economically for business, small business, and grow the tax base that allows you to have our fire, police, streets, etc. This project actually is one of the few projects that does both. It is quality of life for citizens. It is quality of life for tourists, which drives economics. It is economics for the small businesses down there. And all of that ultimately helps contribute to our tax base. So I commend you on that. Side question, Mr. Hart, how many bathroom stalls are in there? Just curious for that.
I believe there's 11.
Okay, I got to go. I'll come back next round, I guess. Unless you want to give me 5 minutes now, and then I'll just won't come up again. But I think you got to do it, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Okay. So the only thing I'll say is 11 is, I'm glad to hear that because I was worried it wasn't enough because I was going to suggest that you build more.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Sean Buckley. I'm the CEO of Go Lake Havasu. Seems like every time I'm approaching this council, I am the least informed individual in the room, which I find myself in today. Having been here for less than a year, I've learned more about the deliberation of this matter in the past half an hour than I have to date. So This has been an extremely informative venue and a lot that I've learned here. Selfishly, I'm coming from a tourism perspective, obviously, as the head of this office, and there's a couple considerations here. First of which, our contribution, our commitment is monetary in both the infrastructure as well as the title partnership with First Friday. We're excited to support one of our local associations in the activation of this particular space. On the other side of the coin is the resident in me, which hears you loud and clear, Vice Mayor, and hears you as well, Councilman Campbell. There are some very real costs inferred with this decision. No doubt that this is a tough one for the council. For the argument, it's relatively easy in the sense that if you look at what we're doing here, from my perspective, we're developing a tourism improvement product. Okay, this is something that we're going to activate. It's essentially a cash register that we are trying to turn on. And that's what we're trying to empower the PED in doing in First Friday, any other events that we can support there, Jim and Steve and Desert Storm. And if you look at how that has translated in other communities, let's look at it on a macro level. Right up north, we've got Las Vegas. They just activated the Sphere a couple years ago. Can you imagine a scenario where the Sphere is 80% complete? Infrastructure's there, stages in place, sounds in place, no restrooms, no roof over it, and that's kind of the situation that we find ourselves in a much, much smaller scale, but we clearly have what we're all agreeing to be an incomplete product here. With that incomplete product, we don't have the potential to mobilize our community partners and enhance those sponsorships and those tourism activations and overall enhance our product in Lake Havasu City. So from that perspective, I would offer this, that Go Lake Havasu is firmly behind the awarding of these contracts and the development of this infrastructure. The consideration being that it's our responsibility. It's James and PED, it's Stephen and Jim and the contractors that we partner up with, that we've got to fill it. We've got to make sure that it is packed full, that the foot traffic is there, that the world, the country, the state recognizes this as a brand new enhancement to Lake Havasu City, and the onus is on us to get that revenue back from you. I understand the consideration. If I didn't own this role, I'd probably arguing the economics as well. There's really no getting away from that. So my challenge is to get that money back in your coffers as quickly as possible. That's what we're here to do. That's why Go Lake Havasu is in full support of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Derek Jones. I just wanted to voice my opinion that I'm against this as it stands. First, nobody's mentioned this, but when you look at the shade structures that need to be put up are only really going to cast shade in the morning because the park kind of faces north-south, and the shade structures that are up now face north, and so the sun just kind of goes up over it like that. So if we complete it or not, you're still not going to have shade. You're still going to have to do something later and come up with a new plan. Second, I have been a professional musician since I was 15 years old. I have played thousands of concerts in parks and outdoor venues. This is not the Hollywood Bowl. This is not the Sphere. This is a small community space. You have no stage built. We're talking about building bathrooms and concession stands, but you have actually no platform to actually have any performances. So it doesn't make any sense to me. When you look at the bathroom, 11 stalls total, that's probably 5 and 6, 5 men, 6 women for 2,000 to 20,000 people. Even if you put bathrooms there, you're still going to have to rent tons of porta potties. So it doesn't make sense to spend the money because now you just have a structure that homeless people are basically going to take over when you don't have an event. And I've seen this happen in multiple spaces in California, in Southern California when I lived there. The concession stand, as others have said, I don't really see the point of it. You have tons of businesses, and you can have mobile concessions come in, like food trucks and whatnot. That is, I believe, all of the points I just wanted to bring up and reiterate that some of the other people have said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, City Council, thank you. I'm Taylor Harrison. I'm here as a citizen, as a business owner around that area on McCulloch, as well as at a capacity on a couple boards I sit on in Havasu, including the Downtown Havasu Board. So a little bit at stake, obviously, for my opinion. So a couple things. One, there's been a lot of, I'm not going to pretend like I like the shade structures either, okay? I think we're all in agreement. Not many people like the style of them, okay? I'm not one of those people either. But the reality is we've got 2 of them up there, maybe 3, I don't know. And that's the style that we're at right now. So we can, and there's a cost associated with tearing them down if you don't like them, but that's probably going to be pretty pricey too. My suggestion would be, hey, let's continue on and actually get some shade there. That's also something that people have mentioned. Hey, there's not enough shade there. They'd be right, because there's half the project is done as far as the shades are concerned. So, and John brought up a good point. There's a moral responsibility, as you know, in your positions, to finish the project, right? It's started. It's not finished. So I think shade structures absolutely need to be there. And Sean also brought up a good point. That's one of, like, aside from the lake, right? A lot of people go down to the lake. But downtown, people like to visit. First Friday is a big thing. They've pushed off the last couple months, but First Friday is huge downtown. Believe it or not, Kingman, Arizona has a huge First Friday too. And what do? They get people together downtown. And that's huge too. So from the standpoint of driving revenue to the city, that's from taxes, right? From people selling things and from people coming to the community. So yes, this project is going to help those things. Maybe not right away, but it is going to bring revenue to the city. So yes, we need to finish it for that reason. And then onto the bathrooms and concession stand. Personally, yeah, there needs to be bathrooms there. Now it was brought up, maybe there's not going to be enough bathrooms there, but some's better than none. Because if I go down there right now and, I'm hanging out at Desert Storm or something, for example, okay, so I'm out there in Desert Storm, but now do I have to fight through BJ's? By the way, I'm not a big fan of BJ's. Do I have to fight through the crowd at BJ's to go use the bathrooms at BJ's? Or would I rather just use the public restrooms that are at the venue? I'd probably rather that. So I think it's a good, reasonable request to get the bathrooms done. Concession stand, maybe here nor there. If this doesn't get approved, I would consider potentially splitting those two to 2 separate items if it doesn't get approved, but I'm in favor of approving it. And then the last thing I'll mention is the cost and the bids. So there's been a lot of concern on the cost and the bids. And yeah, I think they're kind of pricey, but it's been brought up that there's a different cost for residential versus commercial. And I think that's been missed by some of the community here. But there's one thing that you can't control as city council members. You can't control how many people bid on your project. You can put it out there. And you did get multiple bids for this project. And as it was pointed out earlier, you guys are pretty sensible folks. You're going to choose likely the cheapest, most quality option, right? Well, you're constrained to picking from the options that you're given. You cannot force people to bid on these projects, and you can't force them to bid lower. So with what you're given, I think that it is, I'm incredibly in favor of it. Yes, I think it's expensive, but you guys cannot make it cheaper with what you're given. So I appreciate your time. I'm in favor of moving forward and getting this completed. Like John said, it is a moral responsibility. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the council on this item?
Good evening. My name is Emiliano Torres. I am a resident. I would like to see the canopies completed, but I am very disappointed that in a city this size, a local contractor wasn't able to win the bid. I understand the bidding process and all, and you had to go with who you went with. But again, come on, local guys. You should have won this bid. You don't have to pay for transportation and moving people around. As far as the concession, that's an obsolete concept. We have food trucks. We don't need a concession stand. And as far as the bathrooms go, the majority of the time they're going to be underutilized, and then the other part of the time they're going to be overutilized during events. And my fear is the bathrooms are going to attract, a bad element at different times. And I think the most important thing we heard today was the comments from the folks that ran an event, and they said it was a success. It worked. And that was without a concession stand and without bathrooms. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the council on this item?
Hello, Council. JP Thornton. I'm actually representing the Downtown Association. I don't care for the way it looks either. I don't even like the way what it's called. I think we could have got something a little more creative, but that's okay. I want to look at the functionality of this. All of our downtown, we're all business owners in downtown. Bars, restaurants, retail. A place like this is what brings people together. Is it going to take away from the businesses downtown? No, maybe for a few hours, people are going to go down there, enjoy their event, and then they're going to scatter and go run around downtown and spend money and enjoy. And that's what we're about. The budget seems a little bit high, or the cost seems a bit high. But when you look at the big scheme of things, all the work that went in to get these grants, so we're really not spending a lot of money out of our general fund to build a project that's going to be a staple in our community, in our downtown. Like our downtown needs a spark. It needed something. There hasn't been a lot going on in a long time. There's some big developments that are coming in there. A lot of money going to be invested downtown. So something like this is going to enhance it. This is really going to this is what our community is about. We're where we're at on it. Maybe it could have been a little bit better. Maybe we could have made better decisions on the budget and, the functionality. But we got these shade structures there. Yeah. Are these shade structures? Kinda, but we're talking about money to make real big straight shade structures are going to be fully functional. Now, how much money is that going to cost? So you gotta take the good with the bad, and look at the bigger picture and then the long run. In a couple of years, we're not going to be worried about this. Everyone's going to be thankful. The whole community is going to be thankful for all the events that that were able to be taking place there. And that's what we want. So, I hope you guys can really look at the bigger picture, the long term, and your concerns are 100% valid. Everybody's, the no's, the yeses, they all make sense. So it's what's better in the long run for the community. And how we're going to move forward. Let's get this done. If there's a way we could cut some costs, and great, let's, maybe try to explore that, dig a little deeper, work with this contractor that got awarded the bid. So, and see if they could do something else. Maybe down the line when it shows its success and everybody's happy and it's working. Maybe we could add shade structures if it makes sense, but we could table that and that could be discussed. So, it's just look at the bigger picture. I please. And so this is on behalf of all of our downtown members, because we are all business owners down there. And this is the kind of stuff that we need. Big events like Desert Storm. We don't all agree with that. Like, I don't like a 50-foot MTI sitting in front of my building, but you know what? Our buildings are packed and everyone's happy. We tried talking with those guys and respectfully, they're like, hey, this is kind of the way it is. And it made sense. Do we all like it? No, not at all. But figure there could have been a better way, but maybe there's not. Maybe there can be. But we deal with what we can. We make the best of what we have, and we do the best thing that we can for our community and the better of our city. That's what I have right now.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my name is Dan Roddy, and everybody knows where I work. I'm not here speaking on behalf of my employer, but as a person who's worked for 30 years in parks, there's some things that I encourage everybody to keep in mind as you make this very important decision. It's not so much about what we're going to see today, but the decisions you're going to make today are going to last decades and decades and decades. And the most important thing that you're doing is you're setting aside this space for a community to gather. And parks are the greatest socioeconomic equalizer that are there. The amount of green space, the health and wellness value, the mental benefits that you get from having this green space, it's very, very important. So that's why I believe it's worth an investment. And that's when you consider this, you have to keep that in mind. It's not just about what the price tag is today. It's about how much you're going to get back from decades and decades of spending that money and making that commitment today. If you look at some of the most expensive land in the world, it's in Central Park, New York. And almost 200 years ago, those communities decided to set that land apart because they knew it was important. Here in Lake Havasu City, through all the efforts mentioned earlier today, the community gathered together, said we have to find a way to create and maintain this public gathering space in the heart of our downtown district. Then we go ahead and we look at some of the key points we're discussing today. Some people may say shade structures, they don't like them. Could you also say that's public art? That our town asked somebody to come up with a creative looking way to provide shade in the best possible manner, but also please allow it to be utilized as a great gathering space. Are we achieving that with the path we're on? Is it worth our investment? Those are questions that I, as a park person, would encourage people to take a look at beyond the price tag. Doesn't make sense. Is this worth the money we're going to invest in it? When we look at the other structures that are talked about, one of the most important things that come up anytime we talk parks is how clean are the bathrooms? Because people always want to know where the bathrooms are. If they're going somewhere, if they're attending an event, that's something that's very important. When you consider the median age in our town, bathrooms are very important for anybody that's going somewhere, right? So those are things that you want to keep in mind, because anytime as a person who's orchestrated a lot of events, worked with a lot of event planners, that infrastructure makes a difference when people are looking at where are they going to host their activity. And it's more than just one thing or the other. If we were to say this concession building was called a ticket office or a storage shed or a maintenance area, would everybody still have the same strong opinion about it? Or would they look at us like, I see, you need some of those operational elements that you have there, power, water, shade, a window I can open and close. Was that a ticket booth or is that a concession stand? In this case, it's being called a concession stand and everybody's bringing preconception to it. I encourage people to get away from that because an event is going to look at that as a flexible asset that they can use when planning things. And I would question one thing as we look at this, and this is something for the city to consider. In the grants that have come in, which total well over $1 million, are there commitments within those grants that this project would include the elements that we're talking about today? If Lake Havasu City does not finish, some of that grant funding become in jeopardy. I'd encourage you to take a look at that. I've already mentioned about the public art aspect of it, and then I would say this in closing. A lot of times people will look at the park and they'll only consider the park for those 3 or 4 days a year that they're in that park. The park is 365 days a year. It has to be able to adapt to that. It has to consider all those uses. If we decide on our investment based on how we view that park for the 2 days a year I go there, we're not being fair. It's there for the entire community, be they 2 years old or 90 years old. And I encourage you to think of those items. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the council on this item? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. We'll bring it back to council. So again, we've had lots of discussion, lots of public input, which I appreciate everyone being here and having that discussion with us. The first item that we're considering that is on the floor right now is the award of a Main Street Commons Shade Canopies project to Merrill Development, Inc. I'll now open up to any questions or comments from members of the council or entertain a motion. Councilmember Dolan?
Make a motion. I have a question. I have a question.
Yeah, Councilmember Campbell. Yeah, Councilmember Dolan has the floor right now.
I was just going to make a motion, but I can.
He was motioning. I was trying to say I wanted to do a discussion.
Okay, Councilmember Campbell. Now that I understand that, you can go ahead and make your comment.
Am I correct? Were you correct, Councilmember Dolan? You were motioning, right?
Yes, but I can wait and you can make a comment. Yeah.
Yes, so you have the floor, Councilmember Campbell.
First and foremost, I want to thank everybody that came out and talked. I'm really impressed with the number of people that came to the table because each and every one of us have a very big decision ahead of us. As you all said, none of you probably want to be sitting in our seat right now. The biggest concern that we're hearing on this particular topic only is the shades. Nobody likes them. Okay, we got 4 up, and as a visionary person, is there a way that we can go back to the drawing board with the current contractor to say, how do we soften those peaks? Those top, I'm in the welding portion of it, you could possibly soften them so they don't look all poking all the way around. The other thing we can do is look at different textures of shade structures. I talked about a canvas. You can save a lot of money by doing that. Maybe it's not a forever thing, but it might get us over the hump and not be $360,000 or $70,000. So the one common theme I heard a lot, but one thing that I did hear, nobody likes the shade structures. How do we go back and maybe do a better job with the taxpayers' money and hopefully make it? I don't know if we're going to make it right, but I know for a fact we can make it better. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Lynn, did you have a comment?
I'll save mine for the next agenda item.
Okay. Councilmember Moses?
Yeah, may I?
Please.
I think, it always helps me to remember what we originally called this. This is the Downtown Catalyst Project. This is, just by definition, this is what is that original committee that did all this work and put this all together. This is supposed to spur economic growth and people coming to the downtown and creating community and creating all these things. And so that's what it was supposed to be. We call it a park. We call it all these things for different lack of better terminology, but this was the Downtown Catalyst Project. And so in my mind, and I come from somewhat of an event promotion background, my days at the chamber and college and everything else is, this is supposed to be a community asset that makes life easier for those people doing those events to come and do fun stuff downtown. Jim, somebody mentioned tonight, let's, let them put up the shade structures during the event. It's like, that's like a $20,000 tent you're describing. And so now when Denise's Day wants to come do an event and she wants to put up shade structures for her people, for her fundraiser, that's $20,000 that she doesn't get to make on that charity event. Same with an event promoter of doing DSM events. That's less money that they're going to make. And essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to invite more people like DSM to come do more events here and say, hey, look, we have all this infrastructure here. Come down here and throw your event, have fun, bring the cool stuff, and then all of those businesses around there get to benefit from it. And then the city gets to benefit from that, from a larger tax base to take care of our police, fire, everything. Our budget from a city standpoint is heavily reliant on sales tax. We don't really collect a whole lot of property tax. It is all sales tax. And so if we can make a little bit of a dent with making that go up because we put in this this catalyst project, we're going to see the benefits of that. And we'll just be stronger as a community for it. From the shade structure, I've worked a lot with the Downtown Association. I'm very glad some of you are here today. One of the main things that they've talked about was, it needs shade. It needs bathrooms. And from an event promoter standpoint, you need something like what Dan was talking about. It's more than just a concession stand. You need a place to store tables, chairs, all of that good stuff. We need all of those things to invite these event people here to town so that we can have this vibrant downtown that I think everybody here wants. As far as the look of the shades, I'm reserving my, hey, that looks terrible until it's actually done. It's not even close to being done. You're right. It looks terrible because it's unfinished. That being said, there's design is a lot of a personal opinion too. Ask my kids. I think the dinosaurs that people put in their front yards, these giant statues of dinosaurs look ridiculous. And they make fun of me for it. Every single time we drive past one, they're growling at me like a dinosaur. But that's just me. Somebody else thinks that's beautiful. So could it have been different? Sure. But let's let them finish it first. I share a lot of concerns here as well with a lot of you from how much it costs. The bidding, it is by far the most frustrating thing being on council is in seeing these bidding processes, and all these local guys don't bid on it because it looks like this crazy thing, and that's part of why it's more expensive too. They got to they got to have a lawyer on staff to go through all the documentation, all the crazy things. Like, hey, here's a stack of 10,000 pages that you got to read to understand what we want in this, because we have to have all that legal jargon in there because the state tells us to. It's frustrating. And then from a local bidder standpoint, they're like, no, we're not. Why? I don't want to do that. Unless you've done it before, it's frustrating. And why would I do that? I'm just going to go do another job, something that I'm comfortable with, and they're not going to make me jump through all these hoops. So then we're stuck with the one or two bidders on all these projects. We only have one concrete and asphalt company. We only have two people bidding on this thing, and one of them just happened to be from out of town. Thank God. This is, from the city standpoint, we're in a terrible position. It's the most frustrating thing in the world. And so if anybody knows our state representatives that want to help us get through some of these things a little bit easier, I encourage you to reach out for them. I'll also tell you guys, because I know there's a few people here that want to run for city council eventually one day. It's not lost on any single person up here of what we're doing, of spending your money, other people's money. It is the hardest decision that you will ever make, of spending somebody else's money on something that may or may not work out, but this is a dream that a majority of the community has come up with. I wasn't even a part of this the process going forward, but we're here to finish it. I guess that's it. There isn't a comment that was made today that wasn't lost on any one of us. We all share all the same concerns of for it, for against it. I'm personally glad that we're hopefully going to finish this. Everybody I talk to wants shade structures. Everybody I talk to wants bathrooms. And then a concession stand is something that is severely needed for this to be a successful event center and really accomplish the goal of being a catalyst for bringing event people to the downtown area. So thank you for suffering through my comments, but I think this is a very important thing for us to finish.
Thank you, Councilmember Moses. Are there any additional comments? Councilmember Dolan, did you want to make?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. Oh, if there's any architects or engineers out there, trees also make shade, and they're not very, very expensive. So you can put those in your plans.
Hey, you still can't land your balloon on a tree.
I have, so I don't know what you're talking about. So the tree jumped out, but that's another story. All right, I move to award the base bid for the Main Street Common Shade Canopies project to Merrill Development Incorporated in the amount of $346,807.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Dolan and we have a second from Councilmember Moses. Before we vote, I just wanted to, because there's been lots of conversations, lots of talk about the numbers. So I'm just going to read for the benefit of everyone in the room the fiscal impact, which is included in the council communication on this particular item. It's available on our website, as is all fiscal impacts for every item we consider. But then it says the design and construction work already completed at the Main Street Commons is significantly under budget, largely due to the amount of outside dollars used to complete the work. The city secured approximately $2.7 million in grants and contest winnings for the project, and another $500,000 in grant funds is probable. Funding is allocated and available in the capital improvement plan, Main Street Commons project, in the amount of the $346,807 utilizing general funds. So I just want to make sure we talked about this being over budget. This is not over budget. Like, it's been budgeted. It's been planned for. We're looking to pay for it in cash. And I would like to also say thank you to Vijay Sari, our grants manager, and her team for securing those grants outside of the winnings. Amazing work for us to be able to have these considerations. So I just wanted to read that so it was clear exactly what the financial impact of this decision will be. Are there any other comments from members of council before we take the vote? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Councilmember Campbell?
No.
Thank you. Councilmember Koch?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries 4-3.
Thank you. And now we'll hear separately, item 7.7, which we've had the discussion already, is award of Main Street Commons bathroom building and concessions building to to Merrill Development, Inc. Mr. Hart, I am going to ask you just to run through your slideshow real quick for those that are watching our technology on our website. If you ever want to engage with us post-meeting, so if you're not attending live, you can go to our website and actually click on the agenda item by number, and the video will start and you'll see the presentation for that one item. So, and the benefit of people in the future that want to have that opportunity, Mr. Hart, if you could give that presentation again for us.
Yes. Thank you for the honor of doing so. So this is the Main Street Commons Bathroom and Concessions Building Project. We're all aware of its location there at Corio and McCulloch Boulevard. This is, of course, the park as it is today, with the park as it's been finished up to this date. The bathrooms and the concessions building are being proposed. The bathroom building itself will be in the southeast corner of the structure within the decomposed granite area there, and then the proposed concession buildings will be up in the northwest corner, closer to Corio. This is a conceptual drawing of the bathroom developed by our architect. This is a conceptual drawing of the concessions and building developed by our architect. The project itself, should the city council choose to award it, would be 180 calendar days. Anticipated completion would be in May of 2026. The engineer's estimate and base bid was $950,000. We did receive 8 bids. We went through those bids, and the low bidder qualified was the Merrill Development, Inc., who bid $1,059,423. The Main Street Commons Bathroom and Concessions funding itself, as it's been shared, there's a community, a portion of that is 38%, and the general funds are 62%. So if you were to look at that, that'd be the $400,000 being donated in community donations, with the general fund to make up the remainder at $659,423 for a grand total of $1,059,423. With that, I would recommend construction contract be awarded to Merrill Development Incorporated in the amount of $1,059,423.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. So a couple of comments as we begin the discussion now. We're specifically talking about the bathroom and concession area. Some of the conversations had that when we had this hearing initially, that the price is much different and it's much higher. Again, the initial conversation was a bathroom facility only, not including a concession storage area. But I will actually, Mr. Wisdom's comments in our previous public hearing reminded me that the first bathroom building was actually a modular storage container type restroom facility. So it's not, we heard loud and clear that citizens did not want that and users didn't want that. And so now we are coming up with this alternative. Again, it is at a less number when you combine the two into there. Also, there was a lot of discussion about the concession building, but it has storage areas as well, operational efficiencies. I think Mr. Roddy in our last public hearing made some really great points about the versatility of the building and uses for future people. And then Ms. Kruger, when she made her mention as well, all of those special events, you cannot sell alcohol in that area without a special event liquor license, which as part of the state requirement, you have to give a minimum of 25% to the qualifying charity. And so it's not where it's competing with our other businesses, it's enhancing, as was made by many folks that were testifying earlier in this process this evening. So I just wanted to bring some of those components. Again, this money that we have on the fiscal impact is budgeted for here. This is something we were planning on doing originally for consideration of this council to be able to move forward. So with that, I'll open up to any questions or comments from members of the council.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, Vice Mayor Lynn.
Yeah, I have a couple questions, and I didn't really get any of my questions answered on the first one. I think a couple things I want to address the comment that this is a one-time expenditure. It's not. We still have to maintain the bathrooms and the concession stands and the property, so there is a cost to that. And there's been a lot of comments about this is not a complete project. This isn't completing yet either. We still don't have a bridge, and we keep talking about a stage. There's no stage design anywhere coming to us. The PED, I believe, is going to bring a stage for their events. So there is no stage. So you're going to come back to us and ask us for a bridge and for a stage. You're going to. And then I'm going to ask for this request. I don't expect to see it tonight, but I want to see the grant money, and I want to see exactly what we asked for in that grant and see if we fulfilled it. I want to see that. I think that we should see that. Also, the $400,000 in community donations. We keep saying that, but that $400,000 is coming from the PED and Go Lake Havasu, which is money that Lake Havasu City gave to them. They're just giving it back. It's not a community donation. It's the money we gave them to bring back to us. So that really has to be clarified. And then the last thing that I want to ask, I'm trying to figure out where did this concession stand? When did we give direction as a council anywhere to do a concession stand? I understand I can look at things from way back that we said turf and pedestrian bridges and shade structures and bathrooms. When did we decide to even put this on an agenda item for a concession stand? When did council direct staff to go and say, get a bid for a concession stand? Because I don't remember that.
Yeah, so the action tonight would be the direction that council would be giving to if that was to pass this evening. So council would be giving that consideration.
Okay, so when did the community, if this is a community-driven event or a 2020 vision event or whatever, ever say we needed a concession stand? Like, I don't understand when that just got put in there. We've been talking about this for, yes, get it done, get it done. This just came in because they decided to give us $400,000 to get the concession stand. I'd rather see the $400,000 go finish the bridge to the parking lot that we purchased and put our community money into.
When it comes to the bridge, I was a huge advocate of the bridge when we had this discussion May of last year. But now with the topography of the land, it doesn't make sense to have a bridge because you come from the Mesquite parking lot and you walk along the sidewalk. By the time you get to a place where the bridge can come into, you are already literally in the area. So,
well, don't you think we should fault ourselves for doing that? Why would we go and have a design done knowing that eventually we did originally want a bridge? Were we just saying we're never going to want a bridge, so let's just landscape it this way so we'll never have a bridge? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, it does make sense when they take out the 880 loads of dirt from that area so that they could flatten it and be able to have the space as it's designed today. So, but that was, council approved that design that was generated through the public hearings that we had from throughout the community.
Okay. All right. I don't really think I got my answer of where the concession stand, where we gave direction, but if you're saying it's tonight, I struggle with that. But I would really like to see those grants and what was specified and what those grants were for, and if we're fulfilling that. I agree with that.
Any other comments or questions from members of the council before we open the public hearing?
Mayor?
Yeah, Councilmember
If
Campbell.
nobody else has any comments or questions about that, I do. I totally agree with what Michelle is stating. I too am wondering why all of a sudden I have a concession stand on the bathrooms that we did direct over 2.5 years ago. Even again, I said it before, the Parks and Rec Department, they all voted bathrooms would be a priority if we only have X amount of money. The bathrooms get pushed down, big expensive shade covers come in. But the other part is the 3D drawing of the design that Dig Studio did show a bridge going over and people walking around. So they even basically, it goes back to what Councilmember Dolan said. The visual that we got is not what we have today. And if it was what we tried to say before is instead of cutting it so deep, You could have staggered it down. And then again, you could have built in where you want, I made a comment the other day. I said, it's almost like we need to bring some of the dirt back to help if we ever did want the bridge, and bring some dirt back to put the stage in so that it'd be actually elevated. And I totally agree that this is not a finished product. That's what upsets me. If I had a choice of $1 million I was spending right now, it would have been for the $440,000 bridge that Concord said that they would do back in the day. And I had mentioned putting the footings at least in place, so later it's easier to add, but nothing came of it. And so again, I know the citizens initiative. I know I was at the meeting, the very first meeting for the Vision. I was there. And so I had a business on McCulloch for almost 20 years, a bar. So I'm very aware of events, and Desert Storm is going to come to the street with or without the park. I agree that that's a great event center. But the next thing is 2,000 people. We needed that extra access to that other parking lot. I believe we needed access to have pickup and drop off zones for people, but none of that. It's weird. It seems like the council gave direction, and somehow or another, this direction went completely a different way. And how is Dig Studios a little bit accountable for the designs that they're giving council members, that if you look at it, you'll see on some of their drawings, you'll see the bridge and everything. And I saw that when my husband told me, for you to cut that down flat, it's going to be you almost need a retaining wall or something. And those things should have been caught, I think. And I think that's where my frustration lies. It's not what the community wants or doesn't want. I absolutely support the community and what they want. It's the dollar amount. And I think that's where all of us probably feel this way a little bit, like, where did the bridge go? What are we going to do about a stage later? Those are really important things for an event center. And that's where my frustration comes in. I will not get myself in trouble this time by saying this is a no, because it feels like a concession stand has just been added to the bathrooms. If you just gave me a bathroom bid right now, it would be absolutely a yes, because I do understand events. We built the rodeo grounds, the family and the community did, and sponsors and businesses did. I don't think we've really been asked for tax dollars. We just continue to build on it year after year after year. So I believe this is going to happen this way too, but this is on the backs of a lot of taxpayers and a lot of and I hear from some of the downtown people that they are concerned about the parking. They do like the First Fridays, but then you talk to the people that are salons and you talk to the people that are, different businesses, and they say there's no parking for my employees. Or my, the person that's getting the services, there is a lot of services on McCulloch that need their parking, and a downtown event on our First Friday brings nothing to them. I jokingly say all the time, as long as you get somebody downtown to see you have a business there, there's a ton of value there too. So I'm not saying that they all feel that way. I think that the businesses on McCulloch really have to look at the fact that when you have an event of, let's say, a Desert Storm every weekend, maybe you may or may not want to be on McCulloch anymore. That's what I have to say. So again, if you would have separated these out, this would have been a yes vote. Let's hear what everybody else has to say.
Thank you for your comments, Councilmember Campbell. Yeah, Councilmember Diaz?
So I'm not going to reiterate some of the stuff that's been said, but I do want to say that, and I'll just reiterate this. So I am going to reiterate. I do value First Fridays. I go to them myself. They're great events they bring. They're a magnet downtown. I do welcome that we're building a community gathering space down there at the Main Street Commons. It's needed. I'm going to say this because it's been brought up a couple of times. It's not immoral to try to be fiscally responsible. I'm going to say that out loud. So I wasn't on the council when all this stuff was happening, but I was in the audience and I saw a lot of it. So I want to just make sure crystal clear. If I vote no, I'm not voting against the gathering space and having First Fridays and all the business the Downtown Association wants to bring downtown. I'm for all of that stuff. I just know we're spending tax dollars, and we have to make sure that we spend it wisely when we spend the tax dollars. Thank you.
Councilmember Dolan?
Mr. Mayor, yeah. I hope we can see this as a learning opportunity for council, future councils, and even staff. Yeah, this process hasn't, I agree a lot of what Councilmember Campbell said is, we see these pictures and we believe this and we believe that, and then this changes. And I had a lot of talks, even, the city manager, that's the avenue I go through with whether I'm talking here at council. If I'm talking to anything city related, I go through the city manager. We all go through the city manager. We all had a lot of these concerns are coming at us. And it feels like, once again, I've said this in when they design this, it's like these architects, they just, I have a vision and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. It's just unrealistic. Like I said, we could have put a bunch of trees in here too and gotten the same amount of shade. But Dig Studios or whoever the next company is that comes and does this, they really need to listen to us. But this whole square park with a circle and all this was just like jammed down our throat from the beginning, where all we really cared about was a big open grass field that we can use that's functional. There's no stage. Okay, then my point is, yes, then let's put a little cement piece at the very end there. And then, got what I don't even know what it is anymore, the Pearl Bailey showmobile, but it's still around town. The trailer you hook up and you got a stage, or at least then you could put up a temporary stage for some bigger stuff. But it's like I said, we kind of hand this off to these architects and designers, and they're so focused about this shade structure looking like this and the circle and the walkway. It's just, I think any of us that's sitting in this audience could have planned a better structure. Hey, let's run power all the way around here. Like, we don't need these, I also listened to Councilman Campbell. In my first thing, I was ready to let's just chop those things off at the base. But we also have a lot of money and footings holding those things there. So that's also why I am kind of, okay, to me, the ones that look horrible are just the sticks that are just sticking up there. So let's get the shade up there. Let's finish it. But let's learn from this. Let's staff all learn from this, that let's have this process. We do this sometimes with some of the roads, and, I know some of them are ADOTs, but we don't see it till it's done. And we're like, well, that was really dumb. And it's like, well, we didn't really have a meeting that showed us that that's what it was going to look like, because we would have been like, that's dumb. So how do we then, before we sign off on something big, that we know that that's what it's going to look like, So hopefully we learn from that. I do think we need, the building itself does offer shade back there for the concession or the tickets or the storage or whatever we call it. Like I said, I'd like to maybe see us plant some trees. Maybe we can put some trees around the benches to get some shade out there. But I do appreciate everyone's discussions on this. And like I said, hopefully we can learn from this and do better at it next time we have a project that comes before the city. So thanks.
Councilmember Dolan?
Mayor, I just want to say thank you, Councilmember Dolan. You're absolutely correct. That's what I'm trying to say. And I appreciate everything that you just said, because that's the way I feel. I feel as a council person, the voice of the people, I was never heard, even though I was bringing vision after vision and concern after concern. And I do believe when they drew that first plan, all of us were talking about the circle. All of us had questions and concern, but we ended up, if you want to call the newspapers using that word for us all the time, we rubber stamped it. I don't think we rubber stamped that design. And that I appreciate you agreeing with that. I do. I appreciate your words on that.
Do any other council members have any questions or comments before we open the public hearing? All right, this is a public hearing. If you'd like to address the council on this item, please make your way to the podium and state your name for the record. Just keep in mind, we were here for the prior public hearing, so hopefully new information is what will be provided for this item. So, Mr. Wisdom.
Yes, when I mentioned the tent type thing, there's a lot of beautiful buildings. There's churches that have tents and they're designed beautifully. Those poles that's holding up those shade things would be a great pole to hold up a tent. I mentioned they can be put up and down in a day. I want to rescind that. My thought about the tent would be for the better part of the year, they would be up when we have the heat. The other effect I suggested a while back when I was talking about a bridge up in Flagstaff, they had a railroad car that they used for a bridge, and they painted it so it looked really nice. As far as the stage goes, you can take and get one of those 18-wheeler trailers, cut the side of it out and set it on there and decorate it. You got a stage. A whole lot cheaper than what we're talking here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
The only thing I was going to say, I'm Harold Meeks. The only thing I was going to say was about the bathrooms. I wish they would have been opposite the buildings swapped, because every time I go to a park, when you get close to the bathrooms, you could be blindfolded to find them because you can smell them. And I don't like that it's going to be that close to McCulloch, because every time we drive by, we're going to smell them. Oh, I guess we're passing the bathroom.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your comments.
I wanted to say the bathrooms at the bathrooms that are already at the city do work, and for some reason they do not collect a lot of homeless people at the swap meet, is what I was trying to say. So I think the bathrooms can be made and will be functional. So I think that you should go forward with bathrooms. But unfortunately, they pork barreled in the concession stands with the bathrooms. So now you're stuck accepting the bathrooms with the pork barreled concessions. So I would hope that you would say no or vote no on it so that you could separate the concessions. I don't see that there's a need for the concessions. But if you want to do the concessions, then you have to take the bathrooms with it, or vice versa. I also agree with Don Wisdom that the bathrooms should not be right on the boulevard. You've changed the whole view of the park. When people drive by the park, the first thing they see is the bathrooms. The bathrooms should be in the back and not around the main boulevard. But again, that's part of the design process, and you either have to vote for or against it. I'm not concerned about how the bathrooms would be secured or how they would be used. I think that they definitely need to be there. I agree that you're going to also have additional bathrooms put in place for big events, but for the smaller events, the bathrooms will be sufficient, and I think they're needed. And also, I wanted to appreciate all of you for voting for the city. It's a tough job, and I know that you're conflicted on things that you do and have to vote on. So thank you all for doing what you do.
Thank you for your comments. Would anyone else like to address the council on this item?
Hi, Pam Swenson. I also feel that it's unfortunate that the concession was added to the bathrooms. The bathrooms were part of the original plan. The concessions were not. And so I do feel that it would be more appropriate if this bid or this vote actually either separated the two items, or this vote was put on hold until it could be rewritten so that they were separate items, because they should not have been linked together like that. I'm not saying that one is needed more than the other. I'm just saying they should not have been added like this. I will say, as I'm associated with a downtown business, that when events are down there, the businesses actually suffer more than they gain when it comes to the bathrooms. Because many times the people come in just to use the bathroom. They use all of the resources of that bathroom, and the business owner is stuck with the cost of all of that and all of the cleanup, which is massive. So that's another reason that the bathrooms definitely should be part of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, would anyone else like to address the city council on this item?
Good evening again, Mayor, City Council. And I just wanted to add happy anniversary, Councilmember Campbell. And
thank you.
You're welcome. The bathrooms and the concession stand, you guys this item is in regards to the design of those, but one, Councilmember Dolan, you said that you guys can learn from this for future items in the future, but you haven't taken the vote yet tonight, and you can apply that lesson right now as far as that goes. The design of the the picture that was shown for the concession stand literally shows shade over the entrance of where people would place their orders, but where people are eating next to the concession stand is no shade at all. That's in the design that you're about to possibly approve of. And so I would think that when you go in the future and go, well, we have to learn from it, aren't we supposed to learn from it now and not wait for the future? Because that's what you're preparing for, is the future. And also I was wondering the size of those buildings. Sorry, Mayor, I was wondering the size of the concession stand. And doesn't the PED, which is next door, if the concession stand is supposed to be storage for the PED, can't they just store the stuff at the PED office?
First, Ms. Troy, this is actually what the consideration of the council is actually to award the bid to build these buildings, not the design of these buildings. The storage of this building will be for the facility. So that's what it will be. It's not storage for the PED. It's storage for the event space, the gathering place. And then, Mr. Hart, do you have the size of the buildings?
Yeah, I believe the concessions building, if memory serves me correct, is 38 feet by 20. The building the bathrooms is similar in size. I apologize for not having the exact dimensions.
So the pictures, those pictures are not the actual designs you're approving for?
We would be awarding the contract to Merrill, is what we're considering right now, to build these two buildings.
Okay, so that's where I'm completely confused. That picture right there, ask them to change it and make it so the shade would actually be where people are sitting? And
the bids we have are for what you see there. So that would be change of some sort. So it's a different cost, but.
Oh, also with the bathrooms and that, is the security cameras that you need to be putting in place for those things, and security, whatever issues that you need to be putting in place, included in this bid, or will that be a future bid?
You're the first person mentioning security cameras, so.
You're saying you're going to put bathrooms up across bars that aren't going to have security cameras?
I might interject, Mayor. We do have a conduit in place for security cameras and such, so that was planned for already.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I do have a question on that. Is there a reason why? I mean, do we have the ability to extend the shade over that area? I mean, for what we're spending on shade, those two steel bars, can't they extend those all the way over and extend that canopy? Because if our goal is to get shade, like I said, that really is a perfect opportunity to put shade, and it's already being engineered. So you think, two more columns on the side, you just extend those all the way over, and you could. So to me, it seems like we are missing our opportunity to put shade there. Is it something we can do after the fact, or is it something that has to be designed right now in that area?
No, it is something that can be done after the fact. And if you look at our stage area, we actually installed 3 poles that will be utilized to stretch out a canvas from the 2 steel columns down to cover the whole stage area. And poles could be added to the side of this and canvas stretched out, afterwards. So,
okay, thank you.
Would anyone else like to address council on this item?
Again, my name's Emiliano Torres, and I'm a resident, to address Mr. Dolan's comments about renderings not being what we actually thought they were. Look at the renderings we have now. Above the window, if you look at the rendering and you look above the window to the roof, that's an abnormally high distance. Also, the rendering doesn't show anything surrounding. Is the canopy that's jettisoning in front of it, is that going to be hitting one of the the supports for the canopies. I mean, it just doesn't look right. How's it going to look? Again, the rendering doesn't show the view from McCullough. I mean, there's a street there with cars parked and possibly event staff and event activities. Those renderings are they're not actual. They're made to look at the way things should look ideally, and that's not correct. And as far as bathrooms and concession stands, I'm all for them as long as they're not permanent structures. There isn't any reason why those structures have to be permanent, particularly because their use of them is going to be rarely used to abnormally high usage. They make no sense to have permanent structures there. But again, the renderings as you see now are not accurate.
Yeah, Mr. Torres, that's Querio. Just so you have perspective of what road that is, that's Querio. The bathroom building is on McCulloch. The concession building would be on Querio. On the screen.
Yes, but again, we don't see the structures that surround them.
Point taken.
They're ideal. They're I think that was a good argument that these renderings aren't exactly what we really can expect to see.
Thank you for your comments. Would anyone else like to address the council?
James Gray. I just wanted to kind of piggyback up on that. So we've done 49 events, and I know when we say nothing should be permanent, we're going to do 27 just in the next 3 years. When we had Yard City, we controlled that by a lease. We were able to keep stuff. I have to create every aspect of that. I have to create barriers, 3 entry places, 3 security guards. You have to have some amount. We're buying a stage. Why do we have to have a stage? Because the way it was designed is so it could be driven through. So we couldn't have a permanent stage there. So we have to buy that. All these things people get to use. And the way I look at it is I think we're getting hung up on this concession stand. It's really the operations of events down there. We, along with Go Lake Havasu, brought this up as an option. So if you're looking at the bid documents, $492,000, we brought $400,000 to the table. We're also buying all the fencing, all the stages. Why? Because we want to turn it into an event center, and we're down there working, doing that to create this community event, but also to turn on downtown. So for us, we're already down there working a lot. I can't tell you how many things I've turned down in my life because I was like, it's First Friday, I have to be there. I'm sorry. I just won't be at your 40th birthday party, because I was out of town. I mean, if you're going to do an event center, you have to have the tools to do it. Where do you think the food trucks run off? Spider boxes to the poles. Where do those go? Where does the dumpster go? Where does all the things that, when you do have thousands of people show up, you have to have some infrastructure. So I think we've been hung up on this a little too much. So I do think it makes financial sense for you to go forward. The other thing I'd mention, I've heard a little bit about the bridge. One thing I'd like to just do a thought project on the bridge. There's about 55 parking spots over there. If you were to just put 2.5 persons per vehicle, you come up with 140 people. Now, we only run First Friday, and there's going to be a ton of events there. So I can only talk about First Friday, but First Friday has 4,000 people there. That's a lot of money to put into connecting very little people to the park. You already have an expandable downtown that works for 1,000 people, 4,000 people, all the way up to our Super Bowl. Thank goodness those guys come at Desert Storm because there's 25,000 people there. And I'm usually walking a mile down to my office while everyone's having a fun time. And I just smile because it's awesome. It's so cool to have people in downtown. So there's just a little bit different perspective. And I think Dan Roddy put it best. You're buying assets for the future. You're planting trees in which shade you won't really stand under. You don't even know the value of it until it's all done. And when we do, there'll be a lot of people down there, and they'll be celebrating, and they'll be having a great time. And they're free events. So anyways, that's my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Derek Jones. I just wanted to make a comment about this. It does not look like this design has been approved by the council, because it sounds like a lot of you, this is the first time you're seeing it. I urge you to vote no on this so that you can revise the design and have something that's actually going to be more useful. Like, one of the things, just looking at it right now, the big kind of light brown area in the southern corner where the bathroom is going to be, I believe that's where all of the picnic tables are. No. They're not? Oh, it's the other side?
It's on the other side. It's on the McCulloch side next to
Okay, but it's down in that corner.
No, it's up on Quarrio. Up in the north.
It's up on Quarrio? Oh, okay. But it just seems like you guys haven't really seen this, and you haven't had a conversation about it, and you haven't really worked it out. So I urge you to vote no on it so that you can revise it. Things like shade, things like, I mean, we're talking about all these other things that you're going to have to then have another contract for to add on later. It just doesn't make sense to approve this and get it wrong to then have to come back again and Band-Aid it again and then modify it again and then continue to do this and continue to spend more and more money. You should do it right the first time. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't do some of these things. It's just, you shouldn't do them this way. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address council on this item? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, bring it back to council for discussion or possible motion. I would like to make one comment that just hearing the public testimony this evening is that all of the public spaces in Lake Havasu City have grown into different iterations throughout the year. So Rotary Park, as we know it today, is not what Rotary Park was when it was first built. Wheeler Park, as we know it today, is not how it was when we first had it. So there will be different iterations as different generations of users are going to use these public spaces. And this is the iteration for today. And so if there's things that are going to come forward in the future with additional shade structures or different elements, we'll be able to put that through. And have that conversations. But a lot of those additional amenities in our public gathering places were put up by passion users. So the stage is at London Bridge Beach. That was a project of the Chamber of Commerce's leadership class at one time. The exercise stations across Rotary was a project of the Rotary Club. There's just lots of different things that were done through passion projects of different users and different generations of users into the future. So I just want to clarify that point. Are there additional comments or, Councilmember Diaz?
Mayor.
Councilmember Campbell?
Or if Diaz wants to, okay.
Yeah, we'll go with you, Councilmember Campbell.
What I was going to say is I want everybody to really step back on the concession stand. Is Mr. Gray, what he's saying about events, true? Absolutely. They're a whole lot of work. I know. I've done a few. So what the point is, that parcel of property where they want to put the concession stand bothers me because that was supposed to be the public-private partnership. I could visualize literally leasing that land, or better yet, portioning it off, selling it to a private entity, which is what we were supposed to do from the get-go. That could be upwards of 3 stories high. Of course, then we'd have to talk about parking garages and obviously bridges. So as you just said, Mayor, everything's evolving. I'm very concerned about spending $500,000 on a concession stand that could be mobile right now. And then maybe if we have 2,000 people showing up for these events, and maybe this thing is going to be amazing. And I think it will be, because as long as I've been on Main Street, we've had thousands of people show up to Main Street even before First Fridays. First Fridays is just another edition of another event that Main Street has held for decades. So my concern is this. Why don't we go back to do what we were asking the Partners of Economic Development to do in the first place, which was to entice businesses, private partnerships. And now that we have all this money invested in the front of it, Maybe there's a good possibility we can get our private sector in the back. That, speaking of tax paying dollars, there's property taxes, there's sales tax revenues, there's revitalizing a piece of property that really could do something positive. Or are we just going to hold that spot? And then our vision for the future might be about 5 or 6 of those. I talked about that with James before in a meeting. I like the look of his concession stand. I think it looks good. I think we're undervaluing what that property area could be. And if the developer came in, they could build the storage, they could do some things, the ticket booths, all of that. I think putting this on with the bathrooms right now, knowing good and well there's going to be a stage, knowing good and well we're going to need more shade structures, all of it is a mistake.
Councilmember Diaz.
Mr. Hart, did Merrill give us an option, or in any of the paper you have, that if we wanted to separate the bathroom out and just they could just build the restroom? I hate to say bathroom, the restroom out. Does that change the pricing of that construction project? You know?
Yeah, they bid the project building both buildings, and I'm not aware of a way to separate them at this point. So
I really feel like I feel like I'm getting painted in the corner to vote for both. And I really do like the restroom situation, but I'm not. I agree with Councilmember Campbell on the concession part of it, but we've lumped them together. So if we vote no, I don't want people to think I don't want restrooms. They're going to do, but I feel like I don't have that option right now.
Mayor?
Yeah, Mr. Knudsen.
Just for clarity, we are listening in on the staff side, trying to get the best dollar value for the city, right? So when we go for bid and combine the two, that was the purpose. If council wants to make a motion that we go with one or the other or both or none, all of that is on the table. Given the fact that we'd have to go back and have that conversation with them to negotiate that. But council should not feel limited to any degree whatsoever in terms of the direction here.
We just don't know what that, it might inflate the cost a little bit on the restrooms, you're saying, because we don't know.
I can't tell you with 100% certainty right now, but the cost, if the cost of one is tied to the cost of the other, but if council wants to go in that direction, then council waves us in that direction, and we'll figure it out. And if we can't, we come back to council and if that's the case. I just don't want council to feel like they're limited. We were trying to get the best price and reduce the cost on that, not trying to limit the decision-making process for council.
Are there any additional questions?
I just have a quick question.
Yeah, Vice Mayor Lind?
I didn't look in the details. I don't even know if we were given it. Why is this concession stand so expensive? It's $492,000, and the bathroom that's going to have 10 stalls is $419,000. Like, what is in there? What is in there that's costing $492,000? And then the second thing I want to ask is, if we're not building this storage area for the PD, what is Lake Havasu City storing in there? What are we going to store in there?
Yeah, I'll take the storage, and then potentially someone else can answer the question about what's in that concession building. The storage, as Mr. Gray mentioned, is things to use the event space. Any user that rents the space from us will be able to use. It sounds like it's a portable stage, fencing. It sounded like it was, seating, chairs, tables. Yeah, Mr. Gray, could you make your way to the podium, please? Yeah, thank you.
On a separate cost, there is the barriers that are the blue metal barriers that you see that will be lining Quirio to McCulloch and closing up the area. There is the spider boxes, which are boxes developed for food trucks to run off the poles so that there's no generators. There's seating, and then there is a 16 by 16 2-foot stage with a skirt and stairs. However, we probably wouldn't have the stairs on it when there's a band, but things of that nature. Now, all those would go in there, and basically we'd just donate that to Main Street Commons. And so whoever's renting that would use that stuff. And we're interested in it because, like I said, next 3 years, we're going to use it 27 times. And since we don't control the area, it's a lot more beneficial. We're working on a crew of volunteers, so the idea of working 12 hours in a 1 day, come back next morning is not ideal to keep volunteers together for the benefit of downtown. I hope that answers.
So what I'm hearing is we're going to build a storage unit for the PED's items that they're willing to give out to other organizations. I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with building that, because what if there was the Desert Storm that wanted to store their stuff in there? I'm not okay with that. What if they didn't want to haul their stuff in every time? I don't think that's okay. I do not. I think it's very generous of you to, rent your stage out. But even what does that look like for the PED? I'm on that board too. I don't remember us saying that we were going to do that. I don't remember us ever saying, if the Girl Scouts want to use a stage, we're going to let them use that. I don't remember having that conversation. So we, again, are building this storage unit for the PD, not for Lake Havasu City's items, not for the Parks and Rec Department to go put their things in there. So I have a huge issue with that. And if somebody can answer why it's so expensive.
Vice Mayor Lynn, those items would be Lake Havasu City's. They would be donated to Lake Havasu City for the event space. So when someone fills out an application, an event application to use that space, and they say that I want to use Main Street Commons and I need to have use of a concession building and a stage, they would have those amenities to use.
Okay, what I'm saying, if the PED is going to buy those stage and those things, I'm on that board. That conversation was never had. That was never had on the PED board, that the PED is going to go buy a stage and the fencing, and we're going to put it downtown and other people can use it. We did not have that conversation. We did not vote on that. So to say that it's Lake Havasu City's, when did that conversation happen? Where is that contract?
I'd like to respond to that. We actually have two different budgets, and one is First Friday stuff that was in a First Friday budget. The other was Main Street Commons, and all those were identified. And none of the stuff in Main Street Commons has any branding or anything on it. And the reason we did that is we wanted to make the space better for downtown. So I'm not sure that we're not in the business of renting stuff out at all.
So if a girl,
so here's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, if we're getting into it, like if like the $200,000, one of the things was that we talked about is creating something that was mobile to go into your park, but then it would just be used by First Friday. We didn't like that idea. Like, we could have went and cut up a Sprinter and wrapped it and brought all that stuff in. We thought, but that's not going to make Lake Havasu City better, because we're not the only people that use Main Street Commons. Like, we wrote a check for $1 million, but we also want other people to use it. And I want to go to events. I just want to show up and talk to people. So that's the thought process. It's not PED. It's how do we create a driver for downtown, both from, you heard from the tourism aspect, all the new restaurants that have opened, and then all the way down to the community. Like, these are events made for the community to come. So I don't see these tribal lines. I see, like, hey, these are assets that people needed. I don't need to control fencing. I just need to buy it, put it in there, and then when it's my turn, I'll use it. When someone else's turn, they'll use it. That, I just want clarity.
Okay, so my question is, this is being donated to Lake Havasu City, and we have a Girl Scout troop that wants to come out and rent out the area, and they want to use a stage. They can go use that stage?
They can go use the stage. They can go use the building. We have no say on the building. We're writing a check to the city. The city owns that facility. Then we are going back like we just did. We just paid a fee to rent Main Street Commons. We did all the special licensing. We're just one of the other people that want to play on this new field. That's it. Like, we have no, like, I don't mow the grass. I'm not, like, that's our aspect.
I still don't think I'm getting my question answered.
Okay, yes.
But when but I'm on that board. I'm on the Partnership for Economic Board. I do not remember ever having the conversation in that meeting, or if any of my other council members did before me, that said, Partnership for Economic Development is purchasing these items. We're going to put them downtown in the city building and anybody can use them. I don't remember that ever happening.
It was in the budget process, and there was 2 slides. There was one, there's First Friday assets that we're going to buy, which clearly state First Friday, Go Lake Havasu, our new sponsor, everything's branded. Those will go be stored in our building because they're literal assets. Like we have signs, we have LED stuff, we have all kinds of stuff for our event. But in the other stuff, there was 34,575. I mean, pretty close to that number that was sheerly put in from the First Friday account that said it was going to Main Street Commons. So that was passed in a larger budget. And if it wasn't clear, now I sound like I'm not doing my job. But anyways, that was the process it was through.
Yes, I want to see that because I don't remember that.
Right. Are there
Mayor,
any?
I have one question for
Councilor.
James while he's there.
Yes.
When I was on the PED board with you, you guys had discussed about buying a liquor license. Are you still considering doing that? And if so, do you have a liquor license in Nomadic?
We do not. And we are not.
Planning on buying a liquor license for this location?
We are not. Absolutely not. I mean,
Is the city, my question, I guess, would be to the staff now, is the city considering having a city liquor license there like we do at the Aquatic Center?
Mayor, Councilmember Campbell, no, we have no intention of purchasing a liquor license. This is a venue that would be hosted for special events. So promoters and event organizers like DSM and others, they would handle that with the nonprofits in town.
Okay, but we do have a liquor license for the Aquatic Center, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Are there any questions or comments from members of council or a motion?
I have a question for James. No, I'm just kidding. You can sit down. Thank you, James.
Just want to see him walk.
Just wanted to see if I could do it. So, well, it sounds like we can go in different options with this. So probably the first thing we should do is I'll just make a motion. And if we have the consensus to do them the way they are, we'll do them the way they are. And if it doesn't pass, then we can break it down further than that. But we probably have to start somewhere. So I move to award the base bid for Main Street Commons Bathrooms Building and Concessions Building Project to Merrill Development, Inc. in the amount of $1,059,423.
Second.
All right. We have a motion from Councilmember Dolan. We have a second from Councilmember Moses. Now would be time for additional discussion. I'll just reiterate what Mr. Knudsen mentioned earlier, and I believe Councilmember Dolan alluded to. In no way should council feel that they're obligated to do anything because of what the suggested motion is. This was just a way that is brought forward that it was to lower the cost. I support this. I think that we can move forward. As all of our public gathering spaces, they have always evolved over the years. I think we need to finish this project and move forward so we can get users and see what other things need to be there. But obviously we will take a vote. If there isn't a vote, we can consider, if it doesn't pass, we can consider another motion, or the action would die for any additional motions. Any additional comments from other members of the council before we vote? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Councilmember Campbell?
No.
Thank you. Councilmember Koch?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries 4-3.
Thank you. And thank you to all the citizens that engaged in this process this evening. We'll now move on to our final public hearing of the evening. And it's going to be Mr. Hart, so you stay comfortable. Item 7.8, purchase of UV disinfection system replacement equipment for the Mulberry Wastewater Treatment Plant from Trojan Technologies Corp. Mr. Hart.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Mayor and City Council. It's good to bring a wastewater project to you as we look in our capital improvement program to keep ahead of the game and keep everything running smoothly. This is our Mulberry Wastewater Treatment Plant UV disinfection replacement project. It's the materials portion, so I want to stress that. As you're familiar, most of you, we do have 3 wastewater treatment plants in the city. The Mulberry is on the southern portion of the city, right off of Mulberry, near the Cypress Park. It has, like all of our wastewater treatment plants, a UV disinfection system, which is nearing the end of its life, and we need to replace it. This will be the first of 3 over the next 3 years. So what this is if you were to go out to our Mulberry wastewater treatment plant, you would see this UV disinfection system set up. This is what it looks like from the deck. If you were to walk up there, you would see, in this case, we have over 4 access points there with the gates on the end. If you were to look down inside it, you would see that there is what I'm going to call a trench, for having a brain lapse right now. And that is where our UV lights are lowered into, and that is where then they are used to disinfect the wastewater that comes in. The system is the Trojan UV 3000 Plus. This is a specialized system. It is one that's a sole source system. That's a great a system that is used throughout the nation, and this is kind of a rendering of what that kind of looks like. But of course, we have our coverings and have it in a little bit different location. The project scope is to order the Trojan UV 3000 Plus ultraflight disinfection systems to treat the wastewater. So this is the materials that you're possibly going to approve. The materials will take, if should you approve this purchase, 14 to 16 weeks to arrive once the submittal package has been approved. The anticipated completion would be February of 2026. The budgeted amount for the UV disinfection replacement project system is $1,330,000. The sole source quote received on this is $705,350, and this is for materials. We will be going out for bids on the labor side, but that is where we're at right now. Is I would recommend the City Council approve the purchase of the UV disinfection replacement project materials portion, which would be awarded to Trojan Technologies in the amount of $705,350. With that, I can hopefully answer any questions you have.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Hart. Can you explain why is it a sole source?
It is because it is a specialty item, a very unique product that is used across the nation. So
is it to integrate with the other technology where I have at the treatment plant, or? Got it. Okay. Yeah, Councilmember Diaz.
One quick question, Mr. Hart. What is the lifespan of this thing? I mean, average.
Yeah.
Mayor, Councilmember Diaz, Jason, how old is the existing system?
That's a really good question. I want to say 20 years is that on there?
We're pushing 30 years on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from members of the council?
No, just say, will you go back to the last slide, please? Look at that bid process of the city. It's so efficient. We saved 50% of, no. So I guess it works out sometimes, but I'm glad this bid came in lower than what we budgeted. So.
Thank you, Councilmember Moses. Any other questions? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the City Council on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council for any additional discussion or possible motion. Councilmember Diaz.
I move to approve the purchase of the UV disinfection system replacement equipment for the Mulberry Wastewater Treatment Plant plan for Trojan Technologies Corporation in the amount of $705,350.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Diaz, a second from Councilmember Dolan. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Councilmember Campbell?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Koch?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hart, for spending the evening with us. All right. Item 8 is our call to the public. This is where citizens have the opportunity to address the city council on items within the jurisdiction of Lake Havasu City. As I'd mentioned earlier, we can't have a two-way conversation, but we can listen intently to your comments. We did not have anyone sign up, and you don't have to sign up. But with that being said, would anyone like to address the city council during call to the public?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I just want to say thank you very much for this enjoyable evening tonight. It was definitely exactly not the way I was expecting to spend my evening. I'm really sorry, Kevin Jackson. I had a conversation with someone the other day, which I thought was a really interesting conversation. She saw me in the store. I think she saw the glasses. And she said to me, you know, they really need to put community service workers on crossing guard duty. It was a random thought. I tried to explain to her that that wasn't the city's issue, that was the school board issue. I don't think she understood that, but that's okay. I just wanted to show that out there. I have a lot of friends. This one is really important to me. I have a lot of friends who cross streets and deal with crosswalks in different locations. And I know that like one of them is on Swanson and, Riviera. That one's a really bad location for pedestrians. And I just really like to recommend, because I've had other people come up to me, again, no idea why, but they came up and said, like, you know, this is a really place that would need a crosswalk, and this place needs a better crosswalk. And just want to share with you, maybe you should might consider doing a Facebook post asking your citizens, like, you know what, where are your safety concerns as if you're a pedestrian? Because maybe as a driver, you don't see the same thing as a pedestrian. And if you're not out walking your city all the time like the pedestrians are, then you might think they're safe and they have a different perspective. So you could just ask them their perspective. That's what I wanted to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Toy. Would anyone else like to address the city council call to the public? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the call to the public. Item 9 is current events. Are there any council committee reports? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 10, which is future meetings. Our next meeting will be on Tuesday, October 14th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. It'll be a regular meeting. And then on Tuesday, October 28th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m., we will also have a regular meeting. Item 11, are there any future discussion items? Item 12, we are adjourned. Thank you for being here. Be kind. We'll see you next time.